Voila. Voila.
Man's got to know his limitations.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore it. They think he's a righteous dude.
Voila. They throw lots of hard objects. That'll be a beauty. Cans of soup. Federal. Hard objects. The federal. They throw cans of soup. And then voila. And then voila.
Gave us Motang.
Voila.
Michigan gave us Motang.
Voila.
Gave us Motown. Gave us the Mustang.
A chat with you and somehow death loses its sting.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Every minute you don't tell us why you're here, I cut off a finger. Mine or yours? Yours. Damn.
I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading but two things right now. Jack and shit. Jack left town.
Something strange happened to me this morning. Was it a dream where you see yourself standing in sort of sun god robes on a pyramid with 1,000 naked women screaming and throwing little pickles at you? No. Why am I the only person that has that dream?
Ow. Hi, I'm here. Okay. Oh, all right, I'm here early. Hold on one second. There it is. Hi. All right, there we are. Hi, how are you? So the new little piece of news around the household is the cat has figured out how to open the doors. Murphy has been able for quite some time to open doors he was able to open doors in the old house. And now Murphy has figured out how to open doors in the new house. And the only The only doors interior in the house that don't have locks on them are the bathroom doors. Yeah, bedrooms have them. The pantry has them. The closet has one. Has a lock on it. I'm not quite sure why. I suppose I could install a panic room of sorts. It'd be a little crowded in there, but it's possible. But the bathrooms don't. So there's this constant like, yeah, not the bat. I don't. And the cat, all he has to do is climb up with his paws and just use his weight, and the door flops open. It's hilarious. No, it didn't take long at all. It was. And then yesterday, he got his claw hooked in a curtain rod. He's trying to claw his way up on something, and his claw was just in the curtain rod, and he's just stuck. We walked in, and he's on the cat tower or whatever thing, the little cat apartment building thing that they claw on and climb in and stuff, and he's just on top of it. He hadn't flipped out or anything, but you could tell he was near the edge of like, I'm screwed. This is bad. I don't know what the solution is. And he's just up there. I think he thought the curtain rod was like the bathroom doors. And he was like, if I just hang on it hard enough, the window will open and I can escape. Oh, it's a good time. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Normally, we just cover the fact that Trump is making a mockery of the country on our own soil. But today, it's a special treat. The president is making us a worldwide mockery as he gives his speech sort of alone in one of the rounded rooms. I don't know if this is, is he in the Oval Office, or is there an oblong office? Is there a tomato-shaped office? Is that the East Room? Yeah, it's just weird. He's giving this weird little speech, for the UN 75th anniversary of the UN General Assembly, the UNGA they call it. Some things don't need an acronym that's sayable. You know what I mean? Bay Area Rapid Transit, awesome. The BART. Just say BART. I'm taking the BART. I will take the BART when I go to the BART. I will BART my way over to your house, and we'll BART back to the show, and then we'll BART later. Fresno Area Rapid Transit, not so much. See what I'm saying? And UNGA sounds like something that like Carl Spackler would say in Caddyshack. Gunga, gunga la gunga. So, yeah, it's a good time. This is just, yeah. And, he hates the UN. He hates anything where people get together and snicker at him, which is everywhere now, except his little gatherings, which he's good. There's a live one. This dude's still chatting. Let me see if they raced ahead. They had to have covered some space. Maybe I paused it when I was pausing the other stuff. We'll see. But, oh wait. I'm proud to do geeky wiggy do. Here's a nice crowd of red hats and no masks. There's one old lady back there who doesn't want to die. There's a guy carrying his mask. A lot of good that does you. They're parking tractors behind him. Look at this, man. Jesus Trump. Jesus is something, something, something. Trump is the something, something, something. Jesus is Lord of what? Trump is King of America, something like that. We need to find those shirts. This is just a party, and not a comorbidity to be seen in that crowd. If you notice. You don't have nobody in that crowd has a pancreatic issue. No way. Oh, thanks, Rob. Thank you. Thanks for the bits and the cheers and the subs and the hangs out and all that kind of stuff. Am I Can somebody let me know if we're up and running on Periscope? I attempted to remedy that. It still says sending data like it did yesterday. We are up on Facebook, though. Those folks are, hi, Facebook. How are you? Good to see you. Am I going to celebrate my birthday? Absolutely. It's a national holiday. Are you kidding me? This Friday, me, Mark Hamill, Barbara Walters. I mean, there's a good crowd of folks. Christopher Reeve, that used to be his birthday too. Hype train coming. Look at this. Trump holds campaign event in PA. This is the best picture they could find of him. Nobody's talking. They had a bunch of people come up there and say stuff, and then they were just done. And now I guess they're just waiting for him. Because there's his teleprompters. There they are. That's right. Hi. Hello, Dr. Frank. National Director of Priests for Life. What is Frank saying? Hi, Frank.
You know, when the president has these rallies, he summarizes his accomplishments. We have a website called lifepresident.com where you can read those accomplishments in detail, not only on pro-life, but on every issue.
Yeah, like the 200,000 dead Americans.
Order a comparison piece of the party platforms and some prayer cards for the election. So thanks, and again, God bless.
Look at this dude's room. Holy shit. Like the picture of Trump. Look at this. This guy is awesome. Ha! Thanks, Cassie. Prayer cards for the election. Look at this guy. And then the picture of Trump, like, not even an autograph one. He couldn't even get an autograph. He works for the network. He can't even get a thanks, Father McFeely, or whatever. Here's their platform and here's ours. Notice that there's only ours cares about life unless the person is already alive. Don't see on Periscope, but feeding gators while chicken is on the homepage if that helps. I see. Evil Tom Bosley. Totally. Oh, bless Tom Bosley. He's not with us anymore. Good God. We'll skip ahead. And then because of all the stuff, they get these right side people that have to. This dude, who just could not.
To help us continue.
This guy loves Trump like nobody's business.
Show the honest.
The father I've ever had.
It's here without editing it, without filtering it, without cropping things or showing a few people in the crowd getting up to go to the bathroom. And by the way,
is that what the networks do? Am I even missing this? Is that what the networks do? They just show people going to the bathroom all the time. They ignore them. All they shoot is Trump's face. They don't show the crowd. That's his complaint.
Line to the bathroom is longer than Joe Biden's biggest rally. But we've got a lot of people here today ready to see President Trump speaking. He'll be speaking at 7 o'clock.
Great. Super exciting. We'll go to this and we'll come back. This is pre-taped, not surprising, and quite heavily edited. Which you can expect with anything pre-taped or whatever. And every part of this, for the record, anytime his hands fly up on the side of the podium, he's either having trouble reading, so he wants the teleprompter to slow down, or the words themselves are panicking him. Watch when it happens. It happens all the time. It's hysterical. Watch this. This is a good time. Hold on. Here we go.
It is my profound honor to
It just starts right away. Stop. I don't want to do this.
address the United Nations.
Jesus Christ. Look at this edit. What did he get? One sentence out?
It is my profound honor to address the United Nations General Assembly 75 years after the end of World War II and the founding of the United Nations, we are once again engaged in a great global struggle. We have waged a fierce battle against the invisible enemy, the China virus, which has claimed countless lives in 188 countries.
No, we're counting. We're counting, and we've been counting in this country. We're over 200,000. 2 people died of Ebola, and you said Obama should have resigned.
In the United States, we launched the most aggressive mobilization since the Second World War.
That's not saying much. The Second World War was the most impactful war in modern history, by far. That's it's literally like saying that the people of Pompeii have run the fastest they've run since the great volcanic eruption. Well, yeah, that was the fastest they ever ran, because holy shit.
We rapidly produced a record supply of ventilators, creating a surplus.
It's a record, folks. Check Guinness.
That allowed us to share them with friends and partners all around the
Dude, take a pull on this ventilator. Sweet. Mommy!
globe. We pioneered life-saving treatments, reducing our fatality rate 85%.
It's like he's squeezing these words out.
5% since April. Thanks to our efforts, 3 vaccines are in the final stage of clinical trials.
Because we skipped the second of 3 stages.
We are mass producing them in advance so they can be delivered immediately upon arrival.
And none of my followers will take them.
We will distribute a vaccine.
Yeah.
We will defeat the virus. We will end the pandemic.
Did they underline these pieces? Does this make you feel better?
And we will enter a new era of unprecedented prosperity, cooperation, and peace.
Sure, why not? Yeah, just while you're bullshitting.
As we pursue this bright future, we must hold accountable the nation which unleashed this plague onto the world, China.
Uh-oh. Battle zones.
In the earliest days of the virus, China locked down travel domestically while allowing flights to leave China and infect the world. China condemned my travel ban on their country, even as they canceled domestic flights and locked citizens in their homes.
Dude, you said they were being transparent. They were being totally cool. You were working on a trade deal with them. It was super sweet. Dude, the ink wasn't even dry. You were still wetting the ink with your own something or other.
Government and the World Health Organization.
I'm really noticing, yeah. Notice the flying fingers. This whole like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Every time.
Which is virtually controlled by China, falsely declared that there was no
It's like there should just be a horn every time he does that.
Evidence of human-to-human transmission. Later, they falsely said people with
that was just the left hand.
Symptoms would not spread the disease.
Yeah, because they didn't know.
The United Nations must hold China accountable for their actions. In addition, every year, China
that was an edit.
Dumps millions and millions.
Look at this, just flap, flap, flap. He's like a bird that's been hit by a car just on the asphalt, just flipping around.
Tons of plastic and trash into the oceans, overfishes other countries' waters, destroy.
Yeah, exactly. They overfish other countries' waters. You know what they also do when they can't overfish a country's waters because they're on the far side of that country from them? They overpurchase the seafood from those markets. Hence why we put certain areas off limits so that overfishing doesn't completely deplete our... All right.
This vast swaths of coral reef and emits more toxic mercury into the atmosphere than any country anywhere in the world. China's carbon emissions are nearly twice what the U.S. has, and it's rising fast.
And we're trying to keep up. Look at his hands. Look at this.
By contrast, after I withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord, Last year, America reduced its carbon emissions by more than any country in the agreement. Those who attack...
Yeah, because we were on target from what the Obama administration did. Now that we're out, things will set back to where they were, and they'll go up over the next 5 years.
America's exceptional environmental record while ignoring China's rampant pollution are not interested in the environment. They only want to punish America, and I will not stand for it. If the United Nations...
No, just let us pollute or whatever. If they're not the standard, there is no standard, is the point.
...is to be an effective organization, it must focus on the real problems of the world. This includes terrorism, the oppression of women, forced labor, drug trafficking, human and sex trafficking, religious persecution, and the ethnic...
Wait, human and sex trafficking? Is there another... Uh-oh. Are they trafficking other things for sex?
ethnic cleansing of religious minorities.
Oh, you mean like the Coptic Christians that can't escape the quote-unquote jihadist countries because you won't let them come into the country and you don't want to accept refugees or flights from those areas?
America will always be a leader in human rights. My administration...
Just as long as they stay where they are and die where they're supposed to.
...is advancing religious liberty.
I know it's trafficking for other things other than sex, like domestic help and slave labor. I get that, but...
Opportunity for women, the decriminalization of homosexuality, combating human trafficking, and protecting unborn children. We also know that American prosperity is the bedrock of freedom and security all over the world. In 3 short years, we built the greatest economy in history.
No, we didn't.
And we are quickly doing it again. Our military has increased substantially in size. We spent $2.5 trillion over the last 4 years.
We took out $2.5 trillion in debt. We didn't spend it. We loaned it into existence.
On our military, we have the most powerful military.
They had to do an edit on that one?
We're in the world, and it's not even close.
And it's not even close. You suckers.
We stood up to decades of China's trade abuses. We revitalized the NATO alliance, where other countries are now...
Oh, that's what you did. You revitalized it.
...paying a much more fair share. We forged historic partnerships with Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras.
Quick, get through this. Just get it out, man. Get it. Squeeze it out. You know what I mean? Don't blow an O-ring.
And El Salvador to stop human smuggling. We are standing with the people of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela.
Excuse me, you mispronounced it.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Yes, it's spelled with a D.
Their righteous struggle for freedom. We withdrew from the terrible Iran nuclear deal and imposed crippling sanctions on the world's leading state sponsor of terror. We obliterated...
By the way, getting out of the Iran deal was a terrible idea. It's a mess. If you want to extend it, or you want to double down on it, or you want to provide aid and assistance to Iran, if they continue to play nice, it's useful. Right now, they're completely off the chain, and they're getting nuclear material from Russia.
Raided the ISIS caliphate 100%, killed its founder and leader, al-Baghdadi, and eliminated the world's top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. This month, we achieved a peace deal between Serbia and Kosovo.
This is the same monotone we're used to hearing, but just at a higher note. This is the amphetamine.
We reached a landmark breakthrough with 2 peace deals in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, thank God the UAE and Bahrain have stopped killing Israelis at the clip that they were doing it with, I guess, selling them too many desserts and causing diabetes.
After decades of no progress, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain all signed a historic peace agreement in the White House, with many other Middle Eastern countries to come.
Oh, they're super excited. All of them, a bunch of them. Qatar and we'll get back to you. A bunch of them, Bo. I think his balance is shot and the flailing of hands is to stay upright. He's treading air instead of water so it doesn't fall over. There might be something to that his balance is weird.
Coming fast.
But he does this when the balance may be exacerbated by the fact that he's reading and the text is moving. That could mess with him.
And they know it's great for them, and it's
Oh, Cutter said no way? That's all right.
great for the world. These
Oops.
groundbreaking peace deals are the dawn of the new Middle
Groundbreaking. Yeah, like the opening of a mall.
East. By taking a different approach, we have achieved different outcomes. Far superior outcomes.
Far superior outcomes? Are you guys, is there peace in the middle? Are these big peace deals? Is this a far superior to cessations of missiles and guns being fired? Is this, I'm sorry.
We took an approach, and the approach worked. We intend to deliver
Oh, that was a heavy edit.
more peace agreements shortly, and I have never been more optimistic for the future of the region. There is no blood in the sand.
What the hell is this blood in the sand bullshit, too? Like, it's so goofy. He thinks this is some sort of like, oh, the famous blood in the sand speeches. They're going to go down in history.
Those days are hopefully over. As we speak, the United States is also working to end the war in Afghanistan, and we are bringing our troops home. America is fulfilling our destiny
Another edit.
as peacemaker, but it is peace through strength. We are stronger now than ever before. Our weapons are at an advanced level like we've never had before, like, frankly, we've never even thought of having before.
Well, that's a bit much. I mean, haven't we thought of everything just about at this point, whether it's, materially possible or not? I mean, after, I guess, the movie The Nude Bomb, I think pretty much we peaked out at what's possible with any kind of the Get Smart movie, remember? Never mind.
And I only pray to God that we never have to use them. For decades, the same tired voices proposed the same failed solutions, pursuing global ambitions at the expense of their own people. But only when you take care of your own citizens will you find a true basis for cooperation. As president...
Why? If all that matters to me is my people, and I don't care about other people in other countries, this is why West Virginia, like coal companies, don't give a rat's ass about Eastern Kentucky. It's not their problem. Those people don't show up at their hospitals. Those cancer clusters don't affect their bottom line. They don't jack up their Medicaid expenses or fill their hospitals with dead and dying. West Virginia only gives a shit about West Virginia's bottom line, and that's a problem. That's why you need a federal government to police the rivers and streams that cross between the states. You see, if all you give a shit about is your little isolated slice, you're going to use all the resources yourself and export all the waste to everyone else.
I have rejected the failed approaches of the past, and I am proudly putting America first, just as you should be putting your countries first.
Your country first. Uh-oh, he's been hanging out with Mnuchin too long.
That's okay. That's what you should be doing.
That's okay. That's it.
I am supremely confident that next year, when we gather in person, we will be in the midst of one of the greatest years in our history, and frankly, hopefully, in the history of the world. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless the United Nations.
So convinced. The nice thing about it is he couldn't be there in person for them to actually laugh at him when he's doing this. Are they, let's see if we're here. Is he there yet? Let's see. I don't know if this is going to be the case. Hold on.
Right now. Just want to say thank you. Thanks to everybody that's watching. God bless you.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Hey, thanks. You're welcome.
That you like this stream. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like it. Make sure you share it. And hit
I'm not going to like and share it. That's ridiculous.
the subscribe button and the bell for notifications.
No, let's not. So this is an interview he did with a guy named Roop Raj on Fox Detroit. Now this is Fox, and you can see that Trump got looped into this because it's Fox. Now, for the record, this is not that Fox. This is a local Fox affiliate, right? And they're like Phoenix, the Phoenix Fox station is like OAN. You know, they're completely in the tank for Trump. Phoenix, Arizona. But the rest of them, and that's just a personal choice of theirs. And they run more pro-Trump stuff than like OAN or the main Fox channels. And it's nuts. They love the dude. That doesn't necessarily apply to all the Fox affiliates, especially the one that Roop Raj works for, which is Detroit. And Trump is about to fix this. Did I miss the big Fox announcement now? I don't know. Local Fox can be different. Yeah. And so this isn't necessarily one of the ones that's on the team, is what I'm saying.
Watching this live right now, I want to talk to you about a host of issues that are critical. Let's begin with the Supreme Court. You've made it very clear that you would like a woman to fill that spot. We know that just moments ago, Mitt Romney says he will support holding a vote this year. Does that tip the scale for you to be a little more hopeful about this happening this year?
Well, I'm more than hopeful. I think it's going to happen. We have great people. We haven't made the final determination. I haven't, but I will be soon. But we have fantastic, very talented, very brilliant people. And we'll make a decision by Saturday.
They've already chosen for him. And by the way, Sleepy Joe, seriously?
Going to announce.
Oh, happy birthday, Francie.
On Saturday. And I think everybody's going to be very happy.
You know, we have a couple names.
Oh, and Mitt said he would vote. He didn't say how he would vote. That's the curious thing.
Been spinning around this town.
Yes, I was invited. Oh, right. Yeah, I was invited on the Fox show. Basically, it's going to happen after the election. The timing's better.
For some time now, Amy Coney Barrett. Right. I know he was vetted by you years ago. Then Barbara Lagoa seems like an attractive choice, given the fact that she's a Latino from Florida.
Sure, why not? Who?
Doing her work there, and her personality is feisty like yours.
Yeah, well, she's terrific, and you have Judge Larson. You know Judge Larson, who's very talented also. And
why are you zooming in?
A lot of great people. We have. Really, I have 45 great people if you look at it, but I thought a woman would be very important right now for the Supreme Court.
Bags under the eyes, really dizzy, definitely coming down off of something, super orange line on the right side of the face, white ear, just total line right here. Look at that. Just like he slammed his face in some cumin.
So I'll be choosing a woman.
When we take a look at...
By the way, weren't we just hearing Fox and like Tucker and all them saying that this is illegal to choose someone based on gender or race?
How quickly this can happen. We understand that this usually takes 2 to 3 months to happen. According to the Congressional Research Service, they say that 70 days is usually the par for the course. The clock is ticking.
Yeah, no, it's moving along, but we have a lot of time. We have nothing but time, especially since we have the support. You know, we have senatorial support.
Senatorial.
People have come out, and I guess we have all the votes we're going to need. They're going to be very happy with the candidate. They know most of the candidates anyway. I think they know maybe all of the candidates. And we have great support. Great support from the people also.
Have you made a decision and you're just going to reveal it on Saturday? Or are you
I would
still
say that I'm very close to making a decision in my
They're making the decision for
mind, and I'm going to reveal it on Saturday. And I'm doing that out of respect for Justice Ginsburg. You're having a service on Thursday, so I didn't really want
to. You watch the whole person will have to do with like some like right to life personhood bill. Woman will be who he puts on the Supreme Court. Man will be he makes some sort of statement about something else. Camera will be a like watch who is watching you, and TV it will be some message inside the debates where he flares his hands up on TV and tells the queue what to do. Person, woman, man, camera, TV, pay attention to the signs.
Do anything to cut into the service, and we have a lot of time.
You know, one thing.
Could you be more boring right now?
That time has a lot to do with is this coronavirus and the response. Of course, you've talked already a lot about what's happened in the past. Let's talk about the future. Dr. Peter Hotez is with Baylor College of Medicine. He says we may be in for a very apocalyptic fall. When you hear that, he says also that we force school.
He's like, wait a minute. Why am I being asked this kind of question on a Fox affiliate? Do you see the side look?
To go back into high-risk areas and colleges to go back.
Let me guess. You disagree with the science?
Too much, too soon.
Well, I don't know who he is, but I disagree with him. I think we've done an amazing job. They're having a spike in Europe now, as you know, and we were always...
Yeah, because they started reopening.
Compared to Europe, and we've done very well compared to Europe. When you look...
Yeah, if you combine all these different countries...
At our numbers compared to Europe, but now that...
No, ours are terrible.
Spike, and hopefully that'll go away soon. We're all working together. It's a terrible thing. I made a very strong speech today, as you know, to the United Nations, and...
I don't know. We watched it. I wouldn't say it was a strong speech. I think it looked like you were pooping.
Putting the blame on China, which everybody understands that's the...
Is that a sign of strength? Is blaming someone else the sign of strength? Is that how it works?
They could have stopped it. They could have stopped it from coming out of China. They stopped it from going in further into China. But
yeah, they did it by throwing people in trucks and disappearing them.
They didn't stop it from spreading all throughout the world, including us.
What were they supposed to do? Come to Washington State and throw the old people into steel containers and drive them someplace out in the desert? Huh?
And so I'm very angry about that. But
yeah, you look very angry. You look very, but
no, we're doing very well with it. We're doing extremely well, relatively speaking. If I wouldn't have closed down, we could have had 2 million deaths right now, 2.5 million. We shouldn't have.
No. Again, the 2.5 number to 5 million is based on the herd immunity, or a total, in his case, a total lack of any kind of coordinated response. Basically, if we didn't have a government and we were just a big mass of people and it spread through like smallpox through the Aztecs, then that it would kill about 2.5 to 5 million people. And for the record, that's what he's advocating for right now.
Because of what China did, but we would have had 2 million as opposed to 200,000. We would have had 2 million, 2.5 million, 3 million. We could have had a tremendous number of deaths.
Yeah, and you're advocating for that exact strategy right now.
I talked to the CEO of Ford Motor Company in a sit-down much like this, and he said that he wished that the country had shut down even 2 to 3 weeks beforehand. He thinks that would have made a huge difference.
Well, nobody really thought to do that, I could say to him,
40 other countries did before we did.
You designed a little bit of a different car. It could have made a big difference. Nobody told me to do that. In fact, when I shut down, if you remember, everybody said...
Well, if the cars killed 200,000 Americans, that would be precisely your role as president.
There's no reason to shut down, including Dr. Fauci. Everybody said there's no reason to shut down.
Whoops.
When I shut down, it was considered very early. So it's easy to...
No, it wasn't. It was 40th.
Look back now and say, gee, I wish we would have shut down 2 weeks early. I wish China would have shut down 2 weeks early. I wish China wouldn't have let this virus come out. They're the ones to blame. We've done an incredible job between the ventilators and...
Not my fault,
Now the vaccines and everything else and the therapeutics. And you look at our numbers, we've done a tremendous job. The only thing we've done a bad job in is public relations.
Yeah, it's the PR. I don't know if you know this, but the press releases coming out of the CDC is what's actually killing 1,000 Americans a day. They're having these, like, President Trump's 15 days to slow the spread, all those, those leaflets they sent out, they crushed a bunch of people.
Because we haven't been able to convince people, which is basically the fake news, what a great job we've done.
That's the problem. Yeah, we can't convince these people not to die.
Other countries come to see me, the presidents, the prime ministers, they say, you have done an incredible job. This is a big country, very big, and we report everything.
Yeah, what countries are those? And are they snickering on the other line?
Other countries don't report. They don't report their numbers, obviously. You talk about China and various other countries.
Yeah, like which ones? Various other, you mean like Russia and India?
But we have done an incredible job, and we're doing an incredible job. And
if I do say so myself,
we will be, in my opinion, we're rounding the turn.
Yeah, it's not a matter of opinion. You either are statistically with the case information you have or not.
Your opponent.
Opinion has no basis on this. None.
Joe Biden says that if he were president, he would have done one big thing differently, which was to enact the Defense Production Act almost immediately.
Joe Biden's incompetent. And Joe Biden, if you look at what he did with the swine flu, it was a disaster. And his own people, his own person who was in charge of it said,
remember when we shut down the entire economy because of swine flu? Remember that? Remember when Ebola ravaged the country and 200,000 people died? Remember that?
No, we really made mistakes. It was a disaster. We handled it horribly. I don't even know. It's hard to believe that he actually said this, but he said this 2 years ago. He said this. He made a statement that they handled it horribly.
Yeah, compared to other situations, they felt really bad about it. That's why they formed a pandemic response team so they'd never be caught flat-footed again. And then they saw how you handled this, and you're like, oh, no, sorry. That was the old standard for horrible. You are an all-new standard for horrible. You know? It's like when you're worried about your cooking and you bring a dish to a party and you're like, everybody's stuff looks really great, and you're like, I've just brought this green bean casserole. It's kind of embarrassing. This is a total fail on my part. And then somebody's salmon mousse murders everyone. It looked really pretty, but it killed everybody. You're like, all right, I don't feel so bad about my casserole anymore. That's what this is.
He said they didn't know what they were doing. They had no clue.
That's why they formed a pandemic response team to make sure that they were never caught off guard again. What happened to that?
And that was a much less lethal problem than this.
Right, and they recognized that there would probably be a more lethal one in the future. And what do you know? There was.
This is lethal. That was a much less lethal problem. And Joe Biden wouldn't have done anything. He didn't want me to do the ban. He said, oh, don't ban, and then he apologized for it later.
Did he say don't ban, and then he apologized? The salmon mousse. Thank you for noticing, Janine, the Monty Python Meaning of Life one. Don't ban, and then he apologized.
Ron?
No, he didn't.
And then he goes around and second guesses. All he can do is second guess.
He's not the president.
It's a terrible situation for the world.
By the way, you're everything he's put forward, you're now doing.
The world is suffering with it. UK just shut down again. They just announced that they're going to do a shutdown.
Clearly they're weak. You know, that's a sign that as a society, they don't understand they're probably genetically weak. They don't have good genes, probably.
And we're not going to be doing that. We understand the disease. We understand how to handle it.
Yeah, one of the ways you handle it is lockdown.
Hospitals are very low now in terms of the number of patients, which is a great thing. We have tremendous capacity, and we are making the turn. But Joe doesn't have a clue, and Joe would not have been able to do a good job. You wouldn't have ventilators if Joe was there. There's no way he would have.
You wouldn't have ventilators. You had ventilators. We had 19,000, and you let the maintenance contract expire.
Ventilators or anything else.
So let's see. Okay. I'm looking something up. Let's see. Here's let's see. This is Biden not knowing what to do in throughout Biden's early statements. This is from factcheck.org. Let's see. October 25th, 2019. This is before coronavirus emerged. We are not prepared for a pandemic. Trump has rolled back progress President Obama and I made to strengthen global health security. We need leadership that builds public trust, focuses on real threats, and mobilizes the world to stop outbreaks before they reach their shores. sounding the alarm. The first public statement we found from Biden about the coronavirus came in an op-ed for USA Today on January 27th. This is January 27th with the information. Hold on. Open link in new tab. There we go. Joe Biden. Trump is worst possible leader to deal with the coronavirus outbreak. Look at all these graphics they have now. President Trump has blithely tweeted that it will all work out well, yet the steps he has taken have only weakened our capacity to respond. The possibility of a pandemic is a challenge that Donald Trump is unqualified to handle as president. I remember how Trump is a challenge, beg your pardon. How Trump sought to stoke fear and stigma during the 2014 Ebola epidemic. He called President Barack Obama a dope and incompetent and railed against the evidence-based response our administration put in place, which quelled the crisis and saved hundreds of thousands of lives in favor of reactionary travel bans that would have only made things worse. He advocated abandoning exposed and infected American citizens rather than bringing them home for treatment. Trump's demonstrated failures of judgment and his repeated rejection of science made him the worst possible person to lead our country through a global health challenge. The outbreak of a new coronavirus, which has already infected more than 2,700 people and killed over 80 in China, will get worse before it gets better. Cases have been confirmed in a dozen countries, with at least 5 in the United States. There will likely be more. This is January 31st. Diseases don't stop at borders or walls. The State Department has scheduled an evacuation flight and advised Americans against traveling to Hubei province, the epicenter of the outbreak, and is evacuating non-essential personnel. Trump has blithely tweeted, "It will all work out well," yet the steps he has taken as president have only weakened our capacity to respond. Trump has rolled back many of the progress we made during the global to strengthen global health security. He proposed draconian cuts to the National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. You'll recall he still had his people arguing for a 15% cut in CDC funding in March. The very agencies we need to fight this outbreak and prevent future ones. He dismissed the top White House official in charge of global health security and dismantled the entire team. He has treated with utmost contempt institutions that facilitate international cooperation, thus undermining the global efforts that keep us safe from pandemics and biological attacks. To be blunt, I am concerned that the Trump administration's short-sighted policies have left us unprepared for a dangerous epidemic that will come sooner or later. Pandemic diseases are a prime example of why international cooperation is a requirement of leadership in 2020. Diseases do not stop at borders. They cannot be thwarted by building a wall. We cannot keep ourselves safe without helping to keep others safe as well, and without enlisting the help of other nations in return. And here's the truth. The United States must step forward to lead these efforts, because no other nation has the resources, the reach, or the relationships to marshal an effective international response. So this is, I will uphold science, not fiction or fear, unintended consequences. He talks about the measles outbreak. As president, I will reassert U.S. leadership in global health security. My policies will always uphold science, not fiction or fear-mongering. I will ask Congress to beef up the Public Health Emergency Fund and give the power to use the Stafford Disaster Relief and Emergency Assistance Act to declare a disaster if an infectious disease threat merits it, which ended up, by the way, Trump ended up using that later. I will also renew funding, set to expire in May, for the nationwide network of hospitals that can isolate and treat people with infectious diseases and fully fund the global health security agenda so the world is ready for the next outbreak. And we'll rebuild public trust. There you go. So this is January 31st. When Trump would say it would just go away.
And when Joe makes these statements, just ask him to look at the swine flu, which was a total disaster, according to his person that handled it. And everybody knew it at the time. Now all of a sudden he's supposed to be some smart guy that comes in and he would solve a much more difficult situation. Wouldn't have happened. 47 years of failure.
One of the things that you do learn from a situation like that is that the resources available to you in that circumstance will not be enough for a greater threat. And you answer that by going, wow, that was a near miss. We were lucky to dodge that. We need to set a system in place in case the next one is worse or more dangerous or more infectious. And they did. They did precisely that. They learned from what their mistakes were and from what they did not have available to them to combat that, and they put it in place, and he got rid of it. He didn't sit on it, use it later, or go it was ineffective or it didn't live up to the standard they needed. He disposed of the entire system. He set us back to pre-swine flu levels.
One thing that we can do right.
Thanks for the cheers and the bits and stuff, everybody. And thank you, Christina F. And Audio Girl and Debbie for gifting subs to everybody over there. Thanks very much. Hey, Facebook folks, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Come on, cup of coffee a month for all the entertainment I give you. Come on, you can do it. It's not that big a deal. You can even do it for the whole year in one fell swoop. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be a lovely thing to do? I know if money's tight. If money's tight right now and you're worried at all and there's a lot to be worried about, I understand. Just enjoy. But if you can't help, go ahead.
Now is mask up.
I can't tour right now and production is shut down. This is my life. This is my job. I'm doing it.
You have said in the past that it's the patriotic duty to mask up when you can't maintain social distancing, and it's not.
Yeah, no. Biden said that, and then Trump said it.
Safe. We've been to a few of the rallies. I was in Freeland, Michigan, and also.
And it was a sea of assholes.
Macomb County with your son. People were out there almost celebrating.
Which son is that? The one I care about or the dumb one?
The fact that they didn't have to.
You mean Don Jr.? I don't know. Which one are we talking about?
Wear a mask. That's not responsible.
Well, I didn't see that. You know, I didn't know they were celebrating. I come and I make a speech, and we had a great time there, actually, in Michigan.
Yeah, it's not like you're the leader of the free world or the president or that's your party or your voters or anything, or they would even listen to you.
You know, we've done a great job in Michigan with all the...
Carrie, don't worry about it then. Just enjoy the entertainment. Thank you, Robin.
Factories, car factories and plants that are opening and expanding. We've done a great job.
Notice he puts opening and expanding together. None of them are opening. Some of them are expanding because they were given tax breaks and they did stock buybacks. Not because they're not adding jobs though. They're adding more machinery.
Michigan. No, I didn't see that. No, I think people should wear a mask.
Oh, repeat how to become a Patreon from Facebook. You go to patreon.com/HalSparks. That's how you do it.
If they can, if they feel they should, but I don't think it should be a mandatory policy. Actually, that would be really up to the governors, more so than the president. But I'm fine with masks. I've worn masks when I go into hospitals, when I go into certain areas, I wear masks. Masks are fine with me.
But when you look out into the audience, when you're doing these rallies and you see the number of people who don't have masks, does that concern you about the future in this fall?
Yeah,
I'm glad, Tammy. That was really fun.
To be honest, I see a lot of people with masks. I also see a little bit of a spreading out. One of the reasons I do the...
You don't see a little bit of a spreading out. Look, are you shitting me? Wait a second. Look at these people. What the hell are you talking about? A little bit of a spreading out. Look at this. Look at this shit. They're running an ad for... Look, yeah. Look at this crowd. Look at... Where is the little bit of spreading out? These, by the way, these are the people behind him. They pass out MAGA masks for these people. But most of them are like wearing them on their chin like this dude, or this dude, or this dude, or this dude, or not at all, or not at all, you know. Not at all, not at all, not at all, not at all. Not at all. This guy's got one in case he has to go to a store or something, but he can't be bothered. These ladies don't care. Yeah. The rest of them are wearing them as signs. Spacing out. You're spacing out. Good God, man.
Rallies in outside settings is because it's much better. It's, you know, recommended. I don't know if they know what they're recommending, but they're...
Yeah, so what does science know? They don't even know what they're recommending. Guys, what are they recommending? Does they even know? I mean, they're like, the CDC is basically a bunch of Joe Bidens. They're shot. They don't even know where they are.
Recommend being outside like we're outside right now.
Well, I guess that's a good sign. He knows he's outside.
They say be outside. So what we're doing...
Is that what they say? Be outside? Is that on the list?
Is these rallies outside. You know, we're doing airports and hangars, and we're getting tremendous 25, 30,000 people at every rally. It's amazing. I'll tell you, we have more enthusiasm now than we had even 4 years ago, and that we broke the record 4 years ago. But this
was there a record? Biden came to Kissimmee. I would have liked to hear him speak. I wasn't going no way. Yeah, stay alive and vote. Like, these people are not going even just because they support Trump. They're going because they view this as a form of protest.
Even more so. It's been quite amazing, actually.
Let's talk for a moment about the civil unrest. 17 stations in major cities watching this right now. Reverend Charles Williams of Detroit asked a question to you, saying, Mr. President, your slogan is to make America great again. He says many black Americans are concerned that this country's ability to truly deal with racism has never been great. Do you recognize that systemic racism that occurs and exists in
I'm going to go with no.
Country?
Well, there's something going on, but nobody has done more for the black community than me since at least Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, I mean, screw Lyndon Johnson and the Voting Rights Act and Civil Rights Act. You know what I mean? Nobody's done more for him, because for a year and a half, the wage gap narrowed slightly by 1%, which it had been doing for 8 years.
Historically, black colleges and universities, you know what happened there? They were not funded. They were not going to be funded.
Why were they not going to be funded? They get funded every time. Why were they not going to be funded? Does anybody know? Was he not going to fund them? Were Republicans against him funding them? What are you talking about? What? Seriously, what is that? What? Does anybody know what he's talking about? That they weren't going to get funded?
Disaster. I got them funded for a 10-year period and more money than they were even asking for. If you look at opportunity.
So I would never have to talk to them again.
Zones, which are,
if I can just give them cash, like taxpayer money, then I never have to meet with them again. Sweet. Literally paying black people to go away.
Been tremendous for the black community and the Hispanic community. Unbelievable. And of course, the big one.
Yeah, not believable.
Is I got criminal justice reform.
You know, because black equals criminal. That's, I mean, he can't. Why? Look, maybe you could argue that because there's an outsized number of black men in jail, that it on a statistical level affects them more. But on a sheer volume level, there are more whites and Hispanics in jail by per capita. So why wouldn't, every time you talk about what you've done for America, why wouldn't you talk about the number of white people that might be affected by criminal justice reform? Because he doesn't think about white people when he thinks about crime. He thinks black people are criminals. That's it.
Which President Obama tried to get, he couldn't get. Nobody could get it, and I got it.
Nobody could get it. Who was running against it then? What did he try to get that he couldn't get? Who was holding the line? It was Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul.
What I've done is incredible. I also got prison reform. So no
prison reform. So they got, you know, like cushier beds and better snacks for Jared.
And I say it, and I say it openly, and I'm not even criticized for it. Nobody has done more for the black community.
Yeah, I'm criticizing you right now. I think you're an asshole. I think it's crap. I think you're a dizzy bastard, and this is nonsense. And I think the very fact that you can't mention black people in general without mentioning criminal justice reform as a primary indicator of what you think the value of black people is in our society shows that you are full of shit.
Than any president, I would say, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln. And people sort of say, I guess he's right about that.
And this reverend actually recognized all those things with HBCUs nice. And also with what you've done with criminal justice
that's
reform.
Very nice.
The question that we have, though, when you take a look at those people who are rioting out there, you've been very clear that we need law and order, and you've called out those rioters by name. Would you, right now, talk a little bit about those peaceful protesters who are out there? What is your...
Interesting question. Talk about the peaceful protesters, not the rioters, not arsonists, not anarchists, not sorry, anarchists, not anarchists, which would be people who prefer Anakin Skywalker, who's an asshole, by the way, and Darth Vader deserved what he got. But not those folks, not the agitators, who come up and give you a nurple. No. The peaceful protest. Tell us what you think about the peaceful protesters. Let's hear it. Peaceful protesters. Here we go. What's he gonna say? Peaceful protesters.
Message to them, the ones who are not breaking the law.
Right. What's your message to the ones not breaking the law? I'm gonna go out on a limb.
We think there's a big problem out
Well,
there.
you do have peaceful, but a lot of times the peaceful ones get a little bit crazy because they're led by Antifa and others that are professionals that get paid a lot of money, that have money.
What?
And they're led, and then you'll have a Portland where you have anarchists. I mean, you have agitators, anarchists.
What are you talking about? What the hell? No. If they're peaceful protesters, they're not led by at all. A little bit so anyone who protests the death of George Floyd or any of that stuff, they're just a little bit crazy. Yeah, professional Antifa is the story. George Soros is apparently paying all these people, and Seth Rogen is bailing them out of jail. That's the story they're going with. Jews in Hollywood. That's what they're going with.
And we could put that down very easily, and we.
What do you mean put it down? You mean just shoot people like Kent State? Again,
the Republican states and cities, look how well they're doing.
Yeah, the big empty ones where there's nobody. You mean the cities without any people in them?
The Republican cities and states are doing phenomenally right now.
Detroit's doing quite well under a Democratic mayor with Chief James Craig.
And you have a
that's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Great police chief. I watch him. I really like him a lot. Say hello to him. I think he's terrific. I think he's just an incredible representative.
But tell us about the peaceful protesters. Peaceful protesters talking about George Floyd. Tell us about the George Floyd thing. You've got an opportunity here. Say something nice about people voicing their concerns, and you're going to lay their concerns. You're going to show those people that you're going to do something about their concerns so they don't even have to do, so that if they don't even have to protest anymore. Let's do it.
He speaks so well about a very important subject, which is crime and the rioting and all the things that you see in certain cities. Don't forget, you see these cities, and they're Democrat cities. They're usually run liberally, or liberal Democrats, or even...
They're run liberally? They just let it loose, a little loosey-goosey?
Further left than that. I call them radical left.
Oh, you do? Is that your nickname for them? I call them radical left.
But Portland could be... We could close down Portland and the problem in Portland in 30 minutes. But they don't want us.
We're just going to shut down Portland now?
To bring in the National Guard. The governor doesn't want. We've offered it many times.
You went in there. It made it worse. You left and it has gone down. Seriously. Like there's assholes and anarchists and right-wing like white supremacists always causing trouble in Portland. Have been for years. But since the federal troops left, has Portland been eating up your television the way it was? Seriously, are buildings burning in Portland at the level they were when the federal troops were there? No. Yeah, there's always federal agents there, but I'm talking about the ones that block the actual building.
Chicago is a terrible situation, Democrat. Look what happened to New York with the crime bursting, Democrat.
Crime bursting.
It's all Democrats. It's
city of 7 million people. There were 200 murders, or there was 100 murders in the month of September last year. Now there's 200 murders this year. 100% rise in violent crime. People were pent up, by the way. All kinds of other stuff. That's the list, makes the list of what's happening here. 7 million people, 200 people shot. Terrible thing. Needs to be fixed. Junk guns would solve a lot of it. Getting rid of them, making sure people who have a history of violence or domestic violence don't get access to one, that kind of stuff. That said, 200 people out of 7 million? What's the per capita crime rate for gun violence in Pork Knuckle, Montana? What, 3 domestic violence shootings per capita? Dead on the same level?
Democrats that don't have any idea of law and order, and they never want to mention the words.
But your message to
Will the words change anything? Has crime gone down since you started yelling law and order?
Peaceful protesters in those mixes.
Right. Get him back on track. What's the peaceful those assholes, sure, right, whatever. But we were asking you about peaceful protesters. Tell us all about them.
If there's an institutional racial issue in this country, what would you like them to
Well,
do?
I don't know what they think. I know that if they're peaceful, let them be
maybe listen to them.
Peaceful. And I'm all for protest, but it has to be peaceful protest. And
you're all for protesting. We're all for protesting.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? Once they start ripping down storefronts and...
Not talking about those people. He's 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 not talking about anybody who sets a fire. He's not talking about anybody who throws shit. He's not talking about anybody who burns down a business or loots or anything. Not talking about those people. Talking about the vast majority of the people who are protesting, what they have to say, their nonviolent means, what they are protesting about. What's your answer? What is it? Explain yourself.
Looting and everything else, that's no longer a peaceful protest.
He's not talking about people who are looting. Jesus.
President, thank you for your time today.
Thank you
we
very
really
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me end on people looting and burning because it's America. Is he there yet? Hold on. See if he's... This nonsense. It's going to give me... It's going to come alive, and it's going to be like...
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
And proud to be an American, blasting through my speakers, isn't it? It's gonna go sideways. Come on. You bastard. Do it. Gotta reload the page. That's super fun. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody.
How you're going to get to Hawaii. Funny enough.
That's hilarious.
For Macy Hirono, they said, well, how are you going to get to Hawaii if we have no more planes? And she said, well, that would be difficult. I don't know, but we need the Green New Deal. So it looks like we're swimming. You're going to swim to Hawaii. You're going to walk to work. No more cows. It's all going to be vegan.
No more cows. Oh, this is their whole, the Green New Deal is going to outlaw airplanes idea. Do we have, let's see, Green New Deal, no airplanes. Do we actually have, let's see. Okay, here we go. Fact checks on the Green New Deal, shall we? Now let's do this. On February 7th, New York Republican Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez introduced her Green New Deal in the House, and Senator Ed Markey of Massachusetts introduced a companion resolution in the Senate. The text of the legislation, which is non-binding resolution, which means it's basically a PR document, lays out a broad vision, which means it's not actual legislation, for how the country might tackle climate change over the next decade while creating high-paying jobs and protecting vulnerable communities. Unlike a bill, this type of legislation is not presented to the president and cannot become law. Even if the Green New Deal passed in one or both chambers of the Congress, separate legislation would have to be introduced to make any of the resolution's goals a reality. It's in the same zone as declaring something ice cream day on a legal level. That's the impact that it actually has. All the legislative desires in it would have to pass either as one giant bill, which is nearly inconceivable, as any giant resolution like this would, or individually through, elements of it that they would go, okay, we're going to try and get this done, try to get this done, try to get this done. Okay. Much of the response to the proposal has focused on details that don't appear in the resolution text. President Donald Trump, for example, suggested on February 9th in a tweet that the plan would permanently eliminate all planes, cars, cows, oil, gas, and the military. I think it's very important for the Democrats to press forward with their Green New Deal. It would be great for the so-called carbon footprint to permanently eliminate all planes, cars, cows, oil, gas, and military, even if no other country would do the same. Brilliant. 2 days later, at a rally in El Paso, Trump repeated some of those claims, saying that he really doesn't like their policy of taking away your car, taking away your airplane flights. Oh, let's hop on a train to California. You're not allowed to own cows anymore. Rep. Liz Cheney of Wyoming made similar claims, which she warned in a subcommittee hearing that the Green New Deal would outlaw plane travel, gasoline cars, and probably the entire U.S. military. The Green New Deal doesn't call for any of these prohibitions, but documents about the resolution released by Ocasio-Cortez's office did address some of the issues raised by Trump and the others. In February interview with Fox host Tucker Carlson, an advisor to Ocasio-Cortez, incorrectly said that an FAQ document promising all Americans economic security, even if they were, quote, unwilling to work, was doctored and was not put out by Ocasio-Cortez's office. Although the resolution does not include the language, it was part of a fact sheet Ocasio-Cortez provided to media outlets that, and at one time was available on a blog post on the representative's website. Her advisor, Robert Hockett, later admitted he was wrong. Here were some of the Green New Deal, here's what it includes and what it doesn't, and why there's confusion over some of the content. There are 5 goals which the resolution says would be accomplished in a 10-year mobilization effort. Achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions through a fair and just transition for all communities and workers. Create millions of good high-wage jobs and ensure prosperity and economic security for all people in the United States. Invest in the infrastructure and industry of the United States to sustainably meet the challenges of the 21st century. Secure for all people of the United States for generations to come clean air and water, climate and community resiliency, healthy food, access to nature, and sustainable environment. Promote justice and equity by stopping current, prevent future, and repairing historic oppression of indigenous people, communities of color, migrant communities, deindustrialized communities, depopulated rural communities, which I don't quite know what that means. Depopulated rural communities. The poor, low-income workers, women, the elderly, the unhoused, people with disabilities, and youth. Frontline and vulnerable communities. And youth. How long until you no longer become a youth where you're protected by these things? The primary climate change goal is to reach net zero greenhouse emissions in a decade. Net zero means that after tallying up all the greenhouse gases that are released and subtracting those that are sequestered or removed, there is no net addition to the atmosphere. This is the part that Trump has a hard time understanding mentally. The goal then is slightly less ambitious than calling for no greenhouse gas emissions at all. In October, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change concluded in a special report that in order to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and thereby avoid many climate change impacts, the world would have to reach net zero emissions of carbon dioxide by the year 2050. This isn't the world, this is just the United States, and every other government would have to be part of this. So we would all, arguably in the industrial nations, have to go be in the negative to make up for the countries that are developing that will continue to produce these kind of things, while outlawing things sold in the United States like that contain chlorofluorocarbons and the like. Electricity resolution doesn't offer more details about it. Okay, blah blah blah. Well, let's find the part where it says what it doesn't have. Economic security. Let's see. On February 9th, after a Washington Post reporter noticed the disconnect, Ocasio-Cortez responded on Twitter noting that there were various versions of the Green New Deal and the facts. There are multiple doctored GND resolutions, Green New Deal resolutions, and facts floating around. There was also a draft that got uploaded and taken down. There's also draft versions floating out there. Point is, the real one is our submitted resolution, HRes 109. That's the real one. That's the one you go by. An earlier draft of a fact was clearly unfinished and doesn't represent the Green New Deal resolution, got published by the website by mistake. Right. Let's see. Military, blah, blah, blah. The Green New Deal would permanently eliminate this. Rob Hockett says Green promising all Americans economic security even if they were unwilling to work was doctored. That's him responding to it. February 9th tweet also suggests the Green New Deal would permanently eliminate the military, but the resolution does not mention the military at all, and neither do any of the fact materials Ocasio-Cortez's office released and posted. Where did the idea come from? When we contacted the White House, the press office did not provide us with an on-the-record explanation. But one possibility is a separate proposal by the Green Party of the United States. The party's policy also goes by the name Green New Deal. That's weird. What do you know? It includes cutting military spending by at least half and closing military bases overseas, although it does not call for a complete end to the military. So they basically are taking anything the Green Party puts out. There is nothing in the Green New Deal about providing for people who are unwilling to work, but the inclusion in the fact materials has proven to be one of the most contentious aspects of the Green New Deal's rollout. This is one with cow farts, the cow farts. Agriculture. Once again, the agricultural section of the resolution is vague, stating only that one of the goals of the Green New Deal is working collaboratively with farmers and ranchers in the United States to remove pollution and greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sector as much as technologically feasible, including by supporting family farming, by investing in sustainable farming and land use practices that increase soil health, and by building a more sustainable food system that ensures universal access to healthy food. Although the resolution doesn't say anything about cows, the animal is frequently mentioned by critics of the Green New Deal. The president's referred to cows twice, once in his tweet and again in El Paso. Said livestock, say goodbye to dairy to beef, to family farms, to ranches. American favorites like cheeseburgers and milkshakes will become a thing of the past. Cows were discussed in 2 fact documents, which explains we set a goal to get the net zero rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we're not able to fully get rid of farting cows in airplanes that fast. That was in the fact thing as a joke. Same idea also appeared in the blog post on Ocasio-Cortez's website, although the language was tweaked to which I think is nice, to omit farting, which, you know, you always want to do if you can, you know, ever, you know, deal with that. You want to, as much as you can.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
You want to eliminate farting, you know, you want to omit farting as much as possible. And then transportation. This is where's the airplane stuff? Some people, including the president, have said the Green New Deal gets rid of cars or air travel. And as we've detailed elsewhere, some popular memes online have even suggested the plan advocates building, quote, trains over the oceans. The resolution does not call for that. It only states that transportation emissions should be reduced as much as is technically feasible, and suggests 3 ways of reaching that goal, including high-speed rail, zero-emission vehicles, which would include electric cars, and there is no mention of air travel. In one fact that was given to NPR, one of the highlighted projects was to totally overhaul transportation by massively expanding electric vehicle manufacturing, build charging stations everywhere, build out high-speed rail at a scale where air travel stops becoming necessary. That's where you got, you know, San Francisco. If you have a bullet train between LA and San Francisco that takes you an hour to get there, why would you not just take the train? Because you don't have to worry about checking a bag and all that kind of shit. You just bring your stuff on, pop it on, and off you go. Create affordable public transit available to all with the goal to replace every combustion engine vehicle. So this is where they got at a scale where air travel stops becoming necessary. That's necessary on these routes. East Coast has a shit ton of that stuff, and that's why they talk about it. This is New Yorkers and people in DC and Philly and Baltimore and all that kind of stuff talking about all these different places. So there you go. That's where all this stuff happens. Yeah, I don't know how you get all these folks on. Is he here? Is the plane landing? Are they excited?
To be an effective leader? Probably not. Well, let's try to
tell us about it, brother.
Get Mike back up here. Let's try to get
I'm tired of talking.
Back up here. Let's get Mike.
I've said my 9 things that I say over and over at all these things.
Back up here. He and I can speak a little bit together. Good old Mike. Mike-nificent. You can follow us to Twitter at Mike-nificent813. You can follow me at Real A Caldwell. And you can follow us at RSB Network on Twitter.
Yeah, so we're just moments away. I'm looking at that aircraft back there, and it looks like I don't want to speculate too much, but it's the only aircraft that I've seen fly by in the past little bit, and I don't know if
were they doing laps?
They clear the airwaves or not.
Fly me over the crowd so they can see Air Force One. This might be the last time.
You know, when or the skies when the
isn't that because
it's flying through? But I'd like to imagine that that's what they do. So that could very well be him up there.
It's a big aircraft.
It's a strong possibility that it's him. I mean, this energy is just beautiful in here.
Yeah, it's just so extraordinary, guys. Read on WAPO today that money from CARES Act went to the DoD. No, the money that was put out in the CARES Act for the DoD to buy PPE went to airplane parts and new dress uniforms and some other stuff. For a couple of reasons. One is that they already, because of the military, and they're effectively ready for a bioweapon attack, have plenty of PPE that they need. So they just diverted the funds. They basically pre-spent that money, as it were. So, so it was. That's the least of our worries. We're gonna find out in an after-action IG report on the pandemic and the money from the CARES Act and where it went, that Mnuchin and his buddies socked away somewhere in the order of $10 to $12 billion. Just count on it. Minimum, if not 50 to 100. But at minimum, 10 to 15 billion dollars. It just got shuttled through companies that don't make PPE, that never did a thing. And there's, like, by the time the accounting reckoning actually happens, none of it is going to be, you're not going to be able to find any of it. It's all going to disappear. This is, the money the DoD got for PPE that went to other stuff, chump change compared to the other stuff that was shuttled around. Oh my God, the plane's coming in. It's so exciting. There it is. Is this why he thinks there's like 25,000 people at these crowds? Do we have is somebody doing a capacity count? Can you guys find it? Because I can't. Let me see if I can get this. Get out of here. Yeah. Two sons are coming to Arizona after Ivanka dressed the Latinos for Trump. Yeah, both of them. Oh, I see it. That's what that started up. I see. Let's see. Trump. Let's try and see if it says Trump says 25,000 at rally. See if that's been fact checked by anything. In April, he said he hopes for massive rallies of 25,000. 2018 crowd size. Fact, let's see, news recently. President Trump says new TikTok articles land in Texas, but TikTok, really? How many? Yeah, there it is. How many attended Trump's Henderson rally in Nevada? See crowd photos. Early estimates put about 5,600 inside the venue, as many as 20,000 outside. So that's what they're talking about. Trump rally crowd, but fire departments have 57. Security is saying 20,000 people outside, included in the outside crowds. Nevada guys are supposed to be limited to 50 people or more, or fewer. Let's see. Spoke a lot about these people are fun. Yeah, the plane's coming in. This is some good stuff. As he often does in his speeches, Trump advocated for Republicans in the region who are running for re-election, encouraging people to check their ballots. This is 5,000. This was Henderson. Many of the same people, by the way. So a lot of the people who get inside are the people who've been, at these things before. The people who are outside are the people who, didn't camp out for 2 days beforehand or whatever. Or the people who are driving from another city to see him again. Because there's a lot of repeat business. That's why he's like, the enthusiasm is through the roof. It's the same assholes over and over and over again. September 13 rally took place at Extreme Manufacturing in Henderson, Nevada. Henderson is located 20 miles south of Las Vegas. It's not 20 miles south of Las Vegas. The city center might be, but it's attached. I always think it's so weird when you're like, you know, Evanston is 5 miles north of Chicago. You're like, no, it isn't. It borders Chicago. You can be standing someplace and go, I'm in Evanston. Henderson is the same thing. It's Vegas until you're actually in Henderson, like that. This is Trump's first indoor rally since the one held in Tulsa in late June. That one was attended by somewhere between 6,000 and 12,000, depending on the source. The estimates for this one are larger when the indoor and outdoor crowds are included. Nevada Independent reported the fire department estimated 5,600 people were in the venue, and security estimated, and that's Trump's security, as many as 20,000 were outside. As many as. These weren't official estimates, right? But they were fairly close to Trump's estimate of 25. This is the number that they're saying and that he's talking about. Like, there's a bunch of people out here. There's no way to judge that it's 20,000 people. Overflow crowd was large and the lines to get inside were long. Yeah, same people. And again, nobody should be surprised. There goes the plane. There it comes in. They love the show. That's its landing, and it comes around, and then he'll get out, and they're going person to person. Super exciting. Guys, we're not... And by the way, I'm shooting for Sexy Liberal tonight, so I'm going to be shorter than usual. So we'll probably just pick up the top end of whatever he ends up saying. Think you got rid of the troll? Nice. Yeah, they don't stick around long because they're, they're not, paid at, at the level that, the Antifa people are. I mean, their dollars just don't go as far. I got tickets to the Jacksonville rally rant, so didn't a bunch of other Democrats. We can't make it. Doing a ride with Biden event at the same time. Lining up for the Kool-Aid. How many Sir stories? I'm going to go with like 4 dozen. I'm honest to God. These folks. All of them need, like, it is cult-like, it's religious-like. There's no question. The libs are imploding was pretty funny. That's what we're doing. You do realize that while I think these folks are assholes, I don't want any of them to die or kill a relative by getting COVID and passing it on. You know what I mean? Like, seriously. And we're going to hear, this. It's going to be the same shit. It's basically that little interview he did this morning. He'll be griping about that. But he'll be hyped up on stimulants. And because he's currently, as the plane rolls forward, getting a shot in the ass of his favorite stimulant, whatever that is. Did you see that business? I'll see if I can find that for you. Trump shot in the ass. They are arguing. There's this business.
The DSCC is the only committee solely dedicated to flipping the Senate. And right now, that's the only way we're going to save the
millions of lives, and our decisive economic response saved tens of millions of jobs, including 1.3 million jobs in a wonderful place called North Carolina, right?
Jobs, just in case.
When I banned travel from China in January, Sleepy Joe Biden called it, that's hysterical. That's xenophobic. What does that mean? Tell me what xenophobic means, Sleepy.
Jesus Christ. He doesn't know what it means still. He doesn't even know where he is. Yeah, keep saying that. Keep running with that. Please throw that up every time.
Who said that? I mean, you're my friend. Who said it?
He's straight on drunk in this one?
Voice. Have you ever tried opera?
Oh, this is the
voice that everybody has. That's true. I wouldn't say it. She said he has no idea where he is, but I would never say it. I won't.
He actually has said that.
I refuse. No, but don't underestimate him. Look, he's been doing this for 47 years. And I got a debate coming up with this guy. No, it's true.
Oh, it's true.
You never know. You never know. They give him a big fat shot in the ass, and he comes out. And for 2 hours, he's better than ever before. You know. The problem is, what happens after that?
Telling a little inside baseball about his own experience with drugs. This is his excuse for why he's such a dud the rest of the day, by the way.
Nah, we're gonna ask for a drug test. We are. I'd like to have a drug test. Both of us. I'll take it. He'll take it. Because I watched him in the debates with, with all those people, those Democrats. The one who treated him worse was Kamala. She was the one, actually, also. She was the one that treated, you know that. She was the one that treated him so badly.
Jesus. Like, I mean, it's super weird. Like, how, like, that's the slurriest I think we've ever seen him, right? Oh, he'll be doing some fart twisting today, for sure. There'll be some... I don't know why this is, so here comes, like, and look at these folks, by the way. Yeah, look at how many pictures are being taken of Air Force One landing. There's the, so that's them showing the stands at this place. A little dry up top, a little dry up here. Some sparseness up top, there you go. Used to be filled to the gills. Might be a sign of COVID. Doubtful because of his followers don't believe it. But, it could also just be a lack of general, enthusiasm. Standing in those lines for a long time. It's just, you're asking a lot. Is today the day he falls down the steps? This is the thing. This is what we're always watching for. This is the exciting moment. When and that one dude who comes out and opens the door and sets the stairs against it and does that little part of it, just looks miffed every single time. Yeah, death does not care if you believe. That's right. Oh, thank you, MLG. Thanks for gifting the Tier 1 subscriptions to Sangria Rojo. I went to a Clinton stump speech at an airport, and it was pretty impressive. Yeah, they're cool. Like, going to the speeches is fine. I mean, that's not the problem I have. It's that a bunch of these people are the same people, so they're just, like, stacking up these pictures again. So there's a dude, once this cracks open, there's a dude who's going to come out, and he sets the little barrier edges on this. And then Trump will come down, and he'll go talk to people over here, ignoring the crowd, making them wait a little bit. It's in Chapter 3 of Mein Kampf, how to address a crowd when they are waiting, they can't wait to hear from you, you make them wait even more. And this is the good part, yeah? And you make them dangle. Now they're in my part of Pennsylvania, I want to move now. Oh, don't worry about it. Never let anybody drive you from home. Never let anybody give an indication that, your area is one way or another. If you let some sort of rando crowd of assholes define you in a state that has tens of millions of people in it? Nah. Yeah, it's the Air Force flight attendant. This is true. With the real job, though. I would like a president who would fly a better plane. You mean like Harrison Ford, who could fly his own plane? Here it comes. This is what I'm talking about. This is the move it over and guide it, and then dude will come over and set it, and it's pretty cool. It's they're not messing around. This is the part of when you're flying on an actual plane, commercial. They do the exact same thing when there's stairs outside, and they, that little person who drives the building. They operate the jetway, and they attach it to the and they fold the little flap down and open up the door and all that kind of stuff. You never get to really see that unless you're, I guess, technically first class on the on the starboard side of the plane. Why does he need a big flight like that? Thought he just used a normal private jet. No, he's on Air Force One because he's the president of the United States, and that's basically a flying White House. So at all times, the president, when they fly in that plane, they bring with them elements of the Joint Chiefs, a strategy team. If the people from the DOD or whoever can't be there, if the secretaries themselves, which they often aren't on the flights, especially if it's not related to what they're doing, they have a staff member in direct contact with them with authority, like the deputy assistant undersecretary or that kind of thing, flying with Trump for every aspect of government. So, and this is all the presidents, so that if shit goes down, if there's a nuclear war or, a super volcano goes off or something, they have to operate the government from inside the plane. They can do that till they land. Yeah, TVs in the closets. He doesn't even know their computers. That's the goofy part. That's him looking for a shitter to tweet on, and so he just opens doors and he sees a computer inside there because it's actually not a closet. And he's like, there's TVs in every room. It's a good shot, guys. You're doing great. It's good footage. Should be very proud. Not random at all. He's just getting his shot in the ass. He'll be right with you. Don't worry. It's super exciting. Wing airlift something. The what? Make sure you get some shots of it. It's super important. A lot of American flag related clothing there, which is odd considering a good portion of these people don't consider their fellow Americans Americans if they differ. You know what I mean? The essence of America, the essence of patriotism around the American system is that we're all in this together. And even if I disagree with you politically, I still recognize and respect you as an American. That's the essence of what the flag is really about. And a difference that it made on the world stage that was not present when you had a monarchy or a theocracy, right? But these folks wear it all over the place, but don't consider entire towns, if not entire states, un-American or not American, or don't consider a lot of people to be real Americans, which normally that group would include Donald Trump and his ilk, but because they've been fed this fantasy for so long, they buy it. My state doesn't suck out, but my city does. Primarily Trump supporters. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. And again, the way you reach those people is you address what their fears and needs are, and then you can coax them away from the nonsense. The ones that can actually be brought around is that you don't dismiss their fears. You address them. It's against the flag rules and regulations to wear it as a clothing item. Yeah, to actually take a flag and do that. That's the moms. I've seen this said a lot. The difference is you can't take a flag that was a whole flag, cut it up, and make a garment out of it. That's against flag regulations, and it's against the rules of proper flag usage, and you should burn it if it gets torn up or it touches the ground. Printing flag stuff like the stars and stripes or whatever on an actual garment is not a problem. And if you wear an American flag hat that's got stripes and stars and shit all over it, that's fine. It doesn't violate those rules. It's when people like make a back patch out of the flag by cutting it and sewing it on that's supposedly the problem. And I have a vest that I wear on stage as the band that has an American flag patch on the back of it, but it was never a flag. It was printed that way, so I feel okay about that part of it. But that's what it's meant to look like anyways. I just read The Cult of Trump, so good and scary too. Who wrote that? The Cult of Trump? Any of these people cannot be reasoned with. They are lost. That's entirely possible. Then don't concern yourself with them. And again, when you're talking to that person, oftentimes you are talking past them to whomever is with them. Like Puerto Ricans sometimes not recognized as fellow Americans when Puerto Ricans are American citizens. Many people are ignorant enough to knowing their own country and its geography. No question, Edgar. And I think the irony is that the Democrats are fighting to make Puerto Rico a state, effectively, a territory recognized with 2 senators. And the Republicans are against it because it would tip the balance of the Senate, in theory, in the direction of Democrats, which says they have no interest in allaying the concerns or addressing the wants and needs of the Puerto Rican people. That is antithetical to them as a party, that they run against Puerto Ricans actually getting those rights. So at no point does it if you're saying I don't want Puerto Rico to get 2 senators because I'll lose power, what you're really telling me is you do not now, nor will you ever, give a shit about the people of Puerto Rico. And not only that, you will run for election based on what you can do to the people of Puerto Rico, not for the people of Puerto Rico. That is effectively your argument. We lost 7.8 million jobs under Trump. Before the pandemic, before the economic impact of COVID were felt, Donald Trump had created 4.8 million jobs, or 4.8 million jobs had been created during his time in office, I think is more a legitimate way of looking at it, which was on par with what had happened over the last 8 years, although less. It had gone down in that timing. Here he comes. He's clapping. He's walking, waving. Let's see if he likes the stairs. Oh, boy. Hand job, hand job. Wave, wave. Yeah. Do they cut away? Is he going to make it? We can be sure that he's concentrating. He sure is. Like, he considers that a victory. You can tell after he steps off the stairs that he's like, nailed it. So, yeah, where were we? Oh, so the start blocking the trolls. Okay. Who do we have? All right. Sorry. In many ways, the issue that the Trump supporters have is that, they have to answer for everything he does, and they flatly will not. So, okay. Let's see, to the female, and by the way, I'm muting what he says until he comes up, because they play music, and I don't want to get some sort of, like, copyright hit already. Reminds me of Reservoir Dogs. Yeah, he's got sort of the emotional qualities of, was it Mr. Green? Was it Michael Madsen's character? That's what they're hoping for. I mean, to them, the Trump fans would vote for Michael Madsen's character in Reservoir Dogs because they think he's a tough guy. Mr. Blonde, thank you. Oh no, he's not wearing a mask. None of them are. And are they playing the thing? Hold on. Yeah, sorry. They're playing yeah, or Kill Bill. Yeah, pretty much anything. They should play the song Patches. Some of the people are supposedly, Craigslist people, but they don't need to. They've got plenty of sycophants that are following him town to town. They're deadheading with him. There is a huge group of dead-ender Trump fans that will go with him everywhere. And there's a bunch waiting for him in the states that he goes to. And they're really only dropping him in the middle of places where he's killing it, in that particular town or that particular area. So if you have a very pro-Trump town, he's going to show up, have a giant thing, because in their estimation, he is, this is a, it's a PR event to show that he has ginormous support. The problem is that this just lights a fire under Democrats who are like, holy shit, there's a lot of these people. When you see how many people gather at these things, the motivating factor is not necessarily for Trump voters. Maybe a bunch of them don't feel alone anymore, but it doesn't raise their actual numbers. But Democrats, when they watch this, honestly, their reaction is, holy shit, we have to vote in huge numbers. And that's largely the impact it's had since he started doing his rallies after he won in 2016. Perfect timing. Thank you. The speed is not going to kick in until... By the way, for the trolls, I am pro-America and I support the United States and I love my country. This asshole does not, and he can't wait to get out of here.
Thank you very much. I'm thrilled to be back in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with...
Still doesn't know what a Commonwealth is.
Hardworking American...
It still boggles his mind. What's a...
And by the way, the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good team. Great quarterback, don't you think? I think he's great.
What's his name? Say Ben's last name. Say Ben's last name.
Ben, right? Big Ben. He's a good man. He's a good man.
Say his last name. Say Roethlisberger. Say Roethlisberger.
We're going to win Pennsylvania, and we're going to win 4 more years in the White House. And we're all entitled to it, I will tell you that. With your vote, we're going to lift our nation to extraordinary new heights. We're going to turn the page forever on the failed political class, and that's exactly what we've been doing. And we're going to...
I love what he has to... Remember when Chris Matthews, it would be really obvious when Chris Matthews would be reading something in the teleprompter that was put in there by the editorial staff that was his intro or whatever, and he kind of talked about what should be in there, but then the staff took care of it and they put it in there, and he would do these little asides from what was in there. But instead of these asides, when you're reading teleprompter, is something I am massively qualified to do, having done both a game show and Talk Soup. When you do an aside or an addition is really what it should be. If you do, if you say something, sotto off to the, that's out of the thought form of what you're talking about, it should look like it's part of the extended talk that you're actually giving. It should make it should seem to the viewer that it's either included in your remarks, it's so natural, or your remarks are so natural that they don't even know it's an aside. When you comment on what you see all the time, it means you've never seen it before and someone else is handling it for you, and it's completely unnatural to your own cadence and your way of speaking. So he does this all the time. That reverb on the mic, he's going to say the mic sucks, is he? When he does this, and that's so what we're doing, it is true, that is so true. Just point out it points to the fact that he is reading from a teleprompter and he's never seen these remarks before. And this is his stump speech. And they black out. Notice his teleprompters, they aren't the clear kind, because they've noticed that if you change the camera settings on your phone, you can see the text on those. So he's using the kind that have the deflective material on the
And
side.
our jobs, our families, our borders, and our treasured way of life.
Yeah, fish delights and gold toilets for everybody.
And remember,
we love shitting out a taco bowl from Trump Tower after a meeting with Michael Cohen about paying off a hooker for an abortion. You know, our cherished way of life.
Now put America first. We do it. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. This is the most important election.
Oh, I've got to do push-ups now in the middle of this? I don't have a camera set up to show that I'm doing them, though. I'll do them at the end of the show. Remind me. It will happen.
In the history of our country, I believe that. And this election is a matter of economic survival for Pennsylvania. You had the greatest year you've ever had last year, and you're...
No, it isn't. They did not. They did not. Think about Pennsylvania steel mills at some point in history at their zenith, where iron and steel made that state, and understand that in the 40s or whenever, like basically, and through World War II, were the greatest years in Pennsylvania. Period. Like at the end of World War II, they had something like 2.1% unemployment. You know, there's a reason why Carnegie and all those people were incredibly rich.
Really on your way.
Yeah, and now, yeah. And we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down. I didn't notice they put the very pretty black lady right over his right shoulder, though. No mask, just straight up like, hello.
We were very, very sadly disturbed by what happened with China. They let the plague out. They shouldn't have done it.
We were sadly disturbed by them letting the plague out.
But you're now on your way. We closed it up. We saved millions of lives. That's the bottom line. We closed it up. We saved millions of lives.
And now we're gonna do the thing.
And I will tell you, you see what's happening. You see the numbers as well as I do. You are on your way to, I think, maybe economically the best year. This next year will be the best year we've had. And the third quarter, wait till you look at the third quarter.
Yeah, the third quarter numbers are gonna look fantastic. Hold on, let me, let's see. Should we go, let's see. Third quarter numbers. Let's see. Do we go to? Let's go to CNBC. Why not? Let's see. I'll just do speculation, just since it's coming up here or whatever. Let's see. And then stock market live Tuesday. S&P first 5 days in earnings announcement. Now just stock split. All right. Let's see. News. Stop making the biggest moves midday. Slack, Tiffany, Tesla, Lululemon, United Airlines are going down. Netflix jumps 11% while everything slips. Stocks head into September in high gear as Apple and Tesla split. By the way, Austria, Switzerland, Finland, Netherlands, all of them are buying Apple, Microsoft, Google, Alphabet, Alphabet. Like the top 5 stocks, basically. The FANG ones. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Microsoft. So all these, that's why these numbers are spiking, besides the Robinhood kids.
Look at the numbers. They will be out before the election. But
they have to be, so you can totally trust them.
I predict they'll be very good. By the way, if
not,
I deny I ever said it. I deny it. But I'm pretty confident they're going to be incredible. Probably the best ever. Under my administration.
Probably the best ever. Okay. Best ever. Best ever. Now, granted, he's going to go by percentage growth because we went to absolute zero. So he can pretend, you know, it's where, you know, he's measuring his penis starting at the person behind him.
Proudly achieved energy independence.
Okay. Honestly, do we have to do this? Energy independence, Obama. Let's see. And then Trump distorts. Let's see. Trump, reality check. Trump makes several false statements. Yeah, I mean, it's just fact check after fact check. We got energy independence under Obama.
And don't forget, I am not the candidate, two candidates that said we're not going to have fracking, we're going to ban fracking, and he said that for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden he said, well, maybe we'll have some fracking. By the
Oh, did he? Is that how he said it?
way, you know, that's not going to last because the radical left won't let him get away with it. And I'm all for fracking. You know, I was in Texas. Well, it's a big part of your economy. It's energy. It's just a tremendous part. But I was in Texas 2 weeks ago, and my opponent is against oil, guns, and God. And I just spoke to the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, a great guy. He said, I think you're up 15, sir. I said, well, the fake news says
I'm up 15. Yeah, believe it.
4. He said, you're not up 4. And I won it by a lot last time. Remember last time with you, with Texas, with many states?
Yeah, the states where you won by 78,000 votes over 3 states, totally secure. Don't worry about it, dude.
Too close to call, we don't know. And then, boom, the polls close. They say Trump won, Trump won, Trump won. We won a lot. And
look at those little kids with the visor masks on, but no other mask underneath. Sitting on the lady's lap.
Pennsylvania.
Or are they just in front of her?
Because of you,
Yeah.
I won Pennsylvania, and you had your best year. So, I mean, that's the way it's supposed to work. And I think we're going to win a lot. Don't forget, last time I came in, I said I was going to give you the tax cuts, that's regulation cuts. I said we were going to do big things with energy, big things with steel. Your steel mills, every one of them would have been closed and gone had I not won. But I said I was going to do all these things, so it's tougher. Now I've done everything I said and more.
Totally.
I've done more. I've done more than
Totally. Yes. You've allowed coal poisons and toxins into the water on a level no one had ever done before.
So this should be easier, and I hear we're doing really well. I know we're doing really well based on, we came in with a lot of you great congressmen. I said, how are we doing? They said, you're going to win it by a lot.
Sure. Well, then, if they say so.
But we better win it. We got to go out. We got to vote. But powered by the incredible workers of your state, you are now really, if you look at it, the #1 producer. Think of it. We are, as a nation, your state is...
He means America, #1 producer of energy. Pennsylvania is not the #1 producer of energy in the country. So he misread that, and now he's backing.
You have no idea how big an energy...
Just keep talking about it.
You are an energy. People don't think of Pennsylvania that way. Do you have any...
Yeah, no, fracking is a big part of Pennsylvania energy.
Do you have any idea?
Yes, that's one of the reasons Biden's not against it. It's also a transition energy source. Also in the Pennsylvania regions could use a little bit of micronuclear. Just saying.
And as a nation, we're the biggest in the world by far.
There you go. Get back to the. There you go. Get back to the teleprompter. That was the trick.
But no longer is America at the mercy of these foreign suppliers and all of the people that took advantage of us for so many years. We now don't have to be in other parts of the world. We're there perhaps to help allies. We're there perhaps to help good people. But we're not there because we need their energy, because we need their oil. Instead, we're the dominant energy producer. We're going to keep it that way. We're going to always have it that way. This, by the way, our opponents, they don't want petroleum products, okay? They want wind. Let's open up wind.
No one is suggesting you use wind as lubricant, though. Can I just say for the record, nobody's, nothing, Vaseline. I'm not making a blowjob joke. Look, Pennsylvania's unemployment rate. Can I show you something real quick? Do you mind? Do you guys, do you remember? Do you mind if I, hi there. So, here's this is New Jersey. This is Pennsylvania. And this is the U.S. overall. Here's, the Obama administration comes in, recession hits a peak right here, and then it starts to go down. This is the Obama administration fixing all this shit, including the auto bailout, which Trump was against. Here's Pennsylvania's, by the way, which tracked lower. See this? Tracked lower than the general populace. Here's a general populace, 9.8%. There's New Jersey, 9.7. Here's Pennsylvania, 8.8. Like this is it peaked out at 8.8, Pennsylvania. Let me show you what happens here. So over the course of the the recovery, Obama administration trying all kinds of things, is steady lock in there, and then they start second term, start kicking ass and taking names. It lines up essentially. Look at this. Look at everybody all kind of lined up together. See these? U.S. number locked in. There's New Jersey. Here's Philadelphia. Look what happens January of 16. Starts to creep up again. The rest of everything else is going down. Pennsylvania's starting to creep up. Now, it pops back down, follows the same basic trajectory. This is probably we're talking 5.1 to 5.5 variance there. That's a 4% or 0.4%. Not a lot. Probably a couple of factories went away or some shift happened tied there. But then it just locks in and stays around the same trajectory. Look at, it's literally locked with New Jersey right there at that point as they continue downward. But this is from the Obama administration's height here. It's just an exact track down here. Then, like the Obama presidency ends here, and Trump starts taking over. And his policies come in. It's still going down, and then his policies kick in, and look at that. New Jersey and them both kick in. Then they start to slope down as they build some stuff up. Then there it is right there. And then it's down to 3.9%. That's from January of 2019. Same track as before, lining up essentially, by the way, with where it was. There's 4.2%, 3.8, 3.8%. So until the crash was happening, it was kind of strategically going in this direction. Then it wrecks, then it fixes, then it goes back down here. And look at this little guy right here. Look at that, just creeping back up. Look at that, right there at the tail end of January 2019, and just starts ticking back up. Look at that. Such a weird thing. Don't you notice that?
Let's have some wind, and every once in a while the wind will blow, and you'll produce a couple of things, and then you can...
Yeah, thanks, Can't Stop Lying. I know, I'll get at it. This is going to be fun, though.
You can close down your plant for the rest of the season. You can watch those birds fly out of the sky. Gee, I always
fall out of the sky.
Say it's a bird graveyard under the windmills.
That's hilarious. Does anybody know why he thinks... Yeah, Cindy McCain is endorsing Joe Biden. No, not surprising.
Doesn't have the power.
Of course, his work wife, Lindsey Graham, is not.
Doesn't have the staying power. You see what's happening in California? Blackouts, rolling blackouts. How would you like that in Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? Darling, what's wrong? I can't watch Trump on television tonight. I can't watch our president. Darling, we have a rolling blackout. It'll only be a few hours. I think we'll be on by 2 o'clock in the morning, darling, and we can watch a rerun. Now, this is what's happening. You have rolling blackouts. You have, in some cases, just blackouts. I don't even call them rolling.
They don't call them rolling blackouts? Let's see. Shall we? I mean, am I going to have to just live check this whole fucking thing? Like, California rolling blackouts. Gonna go with fire-based problems. Since Friday, rolling blackouts, the first non-wildfire ones in 19 years, have sporadically struck parts of California, particularly in the Bay Area. The state's power grid initially warned on Monday that more than 3 million people would have to suffer the rolling blackouts that lasted an hour or two. Answers to 7 burning questions about California's rolling blackout. Why is it happening? Where to start? Begin with the prolonged record-breaking heat wave gripping the West. So California is not the only state broiling under what Governor Gavin Newsom calls a heat dome. With our neighbors cranking their collective air conditioners too, rather than selling or exporting electricity as usual, Arizona and Nevada are keeping it for themselves, so we buy ours from outside the state. The reserve pool that states draw from was dry. Since California is heavily reliant on imported power, about a third comes from out of state. This puts the grid at a deficit. Hydroelectric power coming south from the Pacific Northwest is running at full bore. State officials say Tuesday that transmission interconnects from the north are at capacity. But don't the power managers plan for this? They do anticipate seasonal shifts, though complex forecasting, blah, blah, blah. Clearly this did not happen. Newsom criticized that he termed what he termed a broad-based planning failure in a letter to the Public Utilities Commission. The State Energy Commission and the independent system operator, which manages most of California's power supply, Newsom cast a broad net of blame. Collectively, energy regulators failed to anticipate this event and take necessary actions to ensure reliable power to Californians. This cannot stand. It is not because they have, I don't need to have a definition of that. It is not because the wind is not blowing. As a matter of fact, Nevada, some of the energy that it sells is from these giant solar power plants that they have. So, and then of course, a lot of dams.
Not going to happen to your state. Last year, I visited the Shell petrochemical plant in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. The largest investment in your state's
Beaver County
history, and that was all made possible by our pro-energy policies. And we've done it a lot in Louisiana. We're building some of the largest plants you've ever seen, largest in the world, and it's incredible, all related to energy. But your security and your job.
And we're always building new plants as new technology comes on. No, I'm not impressed by anybody unless you're talking about providing solar to in mass to large swaths of housing, because single solar plants are not going to do the job. But providing solar panels to individual houses to run their HVAC or those kind of things and taking them effectively off the grid is a way more effective system than trying to supply it as needed to large, businesses and whatnot that are going to sap a ton of power. It's just ridiculous.
Jobs are in very grave peril because the radical left maniacs, they don't want to have anything to do with energy. They don't want anything to do with they have different concepts, right?
Okay, let's hear what the different concepts. What does the left think of when it comes to energy? Are we going to go back to that shit I talked about with the Green New Deal? Are we going to there? Because that's effectively, where his brain is locked in right now.
Have the Green New Deal,
right?
Where there will be
Jesus Christ! I have not watched this. This is live.
Energy almost of any kind. No, it's
no energy. That's what they're for. They're for, like, you can't even light a fire. It's Little House on the Prairie during a rainstorm and a flood. That's what they're for.
Crazy.
Jesus.
Thought of by AOC plus 3. You know AOC?
Boo, brown lady.
Not a good student. Not good at anything, but she's got a...
Dude, where'd you go to college?
Good line of crap, I'll tell you. He's got a hell of
a good line of crap. That's that tough language, man. So, like a boss.
And she's got him, she's radical left, but she's not as bad as some of them. How about
who's worse?
Omar of Minnesota. We're going to win the state of Minnesota because of her, they say.
Yeah, that's why.
He's telling us how to run our country. How did you do where you came from? How is your country doing? They're going to tell. She's going to.
She's a refugee.
She's telling.
She came here for the promise of America, and she wants the country to live up to that promise. One would think. Gee, talk to some of the Irish people on the East Coast.
How to run our country. And you know what?
It's her country too.
The Democrats in Congress, you have to see what they're doing. Their stance on
What are they doing? It's very exciting.
It's like a whole different world. It's like from 10 years ago, it's like a different world. And we want to keep our world the way it was and the way it's going to be. We've got the greatest country on earth.
The way it was and the way it's going to be. It was just, if we were so close when George Bush wrecked the economy and we were still in Iraq, if we'd have just not had Obama and just kept wrecking the economy, we would have cleared out the suckers, sent all the poor people over as cannon fodder, the population of the country would have been cut in half, then the pandemic would have hit, it would have wiped out everybody with diabetes or heart disease, and then only the Ubermensch would survive. We were this close, and then the brown dude came in with Biden and screwed up the whole plan.
And we're going to keep it that way. We don't need socialists and we don't need communists telling us how to run our country.
It's weird that the United Socialists of America would start screaming like that.
You know,
you're going to do his little Hitler walk away.
I do this every night, and a lot of times it's a waste.
It's boring. A lot of times I bore the shit out of myself.
I did it last night. Did you see the crowd we had last night? We were in a great place, Ohio, and we had a crowd. You couldn't see the end of it, and I said, turn around, camera, turn around. But they never like doing that, you know? They don't like spinning those cameras.
By the way, Right Sider and OAN will turn around and film everybody.
They don't want to show the crowd.
They're doing it right now.
They don't like show.
Boo! They show you're the president. You're the one talking. They don't need to see if. By the way, this is, again, propaganda.
They don't like
that you have a car, like the beer push. This is just showing a crowd of people to make you believe that he has more support than he actually does.
Show the crowd. I mean, it's an honor, let me tell you. Good. Look, you know, I used to think there was a difficulty, like it was a new camera that can't turn. But then whenever there was like a problem, like there'd be a little argument or some kind of an anti-Trump person, you don't see that much. I don't want to bring it on, but you don't see it much anymore. You know what? It's dangerous. It's dangerous with it. But you know, I'd see the camera would never move, but ever when there's something like a little negative happening, that thing would turn around like a pretzel. And
yeah, because who gives a shit about the crowd that's there? You say what the number is, they show you, who cares?
Oh, it does move, but they never want to show the crowds. They never, last night, now I went home and I tell you this, I go home all the time.
He said the same thing, to like, this is the same story, he's telling it in different towns.
How'd you like?
Honey, how'd you like the thing? Were there any people there? Did they show the crowd? Did you see the crowd we had? They were huge. Oh, it's a Sir story this time.
I didn't see it. But I didn't see it, Donald. I didn't see it. Sometimes you'll call me Mr. President, but...
What?
How'd you like the crowd? Sir, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But I didn't see it, Donald. I didn't see it. Sometimes you'll call me Mr. President, but she's only kidding, believe me. She's only kidding. Has she been a great first lady, right?
Wait a minute. His wife calls him Sir? What? Is this, like, hold on.
I went home and I tell you this, I go home all the time. First lady, how'd you like the crowd? Sir, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But I didn't see it, Donald. I didn't see it. Sometimes you'll call me Mr. President, but she's only kidding, believe me. She's only kidding. Has she been a great first lady, right?
Jesus Christ. He mixed up the Sir stories with the wife stories. And Christ. Is that in the prenup that she has to call him Sir? She's been a great First lady, sir, I've been a great first lady.
Been a great first lady. And very popular. She's really done a great job, and she works hard. You know,
Be best.
we have some great people here tonight. I brought certain members of my family, but I'm going to introduce them to you in a little while. Okay?
Very exciting.
Great.
Don't
They really
care.
work hard, but I do wish they would show, because it would be, you know, it's actually better for them if they show. It shows the importance. The only thing you can do is, it's true, I'll say, how did it look? I don't know how it looked, but the sound was phenomenal, okay? It sounded like a Penn State football game, like a Steelers football game. You know, you can't disguise it. You ever see Sleepy Joe with the little circles? He puts them very far away.
The campaign pays for the rallies. The American taxpayer gets him there.
So far away, and then he comes up with the mask. He's like 100 yards from the nearest human being. He's got a mask. He feels good about the mask. I wonder, in the debate, it'll be him and I on the stage. Is he going to walk in with a mask?
Yeah, because there'll be people backstage and camera people, and there'll be no 100% guarantee that they've been tested, although I suppose the network, whoever is putting it on, will agree to take care of that. But unless those folks are sequestered in a hotel until, you know, from when they were tested, how do you know?
I'll be honest. He feels good about the mask, and that's okay. You know what? Whatever makes you feel good, he feels good.
That's what I want in a president. Whatever makes you feel good, you know.
He feels. I mean, honestly, what the
Honestly.
hell did he spend all that money on the plastic surgery if he's going to cover it up with a mask? Seriously, the whole deal.
That's the run. So plastic surgery is going to be his run against Biden. First of all, I think the accusation is Botox, right? Ages ago. And secondly, do we really want to go there, neck waddle?
No, I think he'll come in with a mask. I don't know. I have no idea. Well, the question is, will he leave it on during the debate? Because it's a little hard, and I'm all for masks when you need them, I'm all. But when you're making a speech and the nearest person's like where you are, and you're on a stage all by yourself, and then he had to have...
No, he comes in, he takes it off, he gives the speech, he puts it on when he leaves. Don't pretend you haven't seen it. They've seen it. Don't make your followers dumber than they already are.
Get it off, and it hangs down on his ear as he's speaking. He feels it makes him feel comfortable. And you know, honestly, whatever makes you feel good is okay with me. But it'll be interesting. We're going to have a big rating on that. And, you know, he's been doing it all his life. He's been doing it for 47 years, and I've just started doing this stuff. I've just started.
Yeah, so even though he doesn't know where he is and he hides behind a mask and he's got tiny little rallies and nobody wants to talk to him and he doesn't know anything and he can't figure out what town he's in and he's had a bunch of work done and he's confused and he mixes up the town and he doesn't know what's going on and other people tell him what to say. He's going to stand on the stage for an hour and a half and kick your ass, but it's probably just, it's just because of practice.
But, I'm just thinking, but I did more in
3 years than everybody.
7 months than he did in 47 years. It's true.
Violence Against Women Act, crime bill, ACA says what? Highest raise for the military in the last 40 years says what? Cancer Moonshot says what?
You look at what we've done.
What have you done? What have you done? What are you going to do? VA choice? Judges? He's like looking, you're not supposed to do that. This is the same shit with the remarks off of the teleprompter. So the person he keeps talking to over here, when he does this, and he's like pointing and he says this, and he's pointing at the same spot, you'll notice everywhere he does these, it's the same spot. there's occasionally a person who will yell and he'll reference them. But every time he does this kind of pointing and that stuff, it's always over to the left. And the reason for that is, thanks very much, I'll empty it. Appreciate it, Francie. The reason for that is that's where the RNC cheerleader is, who gets everybody to hold up the right sign so that it's all a coordinated thing. What they don't realize is that it makes them look even more like cultists and nutcases.
No, it's true.
No, it's true. It's so true that he doesn't know where he is and he's a complete asshole and everybody else has to tell him and he doesn't even know his positions and he doesn't know what he's doing, but he'll probably kick my ass at the debates.
That's actually true. He did a lot of negative stuff too. You have to deduct that out.
Yeah, you got to. What's the the return on investment in?
I asked if there would be
Thanks, Betsy.
any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration. Joe replied, no. We would make sure that it's all eliminated. All of a sudden, he gets the nomination. You know, he's been trying to get the nomination for decades.
And he got it.
He finally and that was prime time for him, which was never great.
Oh, God, in his prime.
And he never got more than 1%. We called him, remember I called him, his first nickname was 1% Joe.
Yeah, that didn't work out, did it? Any more than Sleepy does.
And frankly, had Elizabeth Warren been...
Oh my God, she was supposed to screw it up for him. She was supposed to make it so that Bernie won. I was supposed to run against Bernie because we had a whole strategy, and now it's falling apart.
Loyal to her philosophy, which is radical left, socialism, perhaps communism, I don't know.
That's what I was so hoping I could run against communists.
Perhaps. It's verging on communism, right?
Is it verging on what's verging on communism?
But had she been loyal, she would have left. She would have quit. She had no chance. She was out. Pocahontas. She was gone. Remember, I said, I have more Indian blood in me than you have, and I have none. And I'd love to have some, but I don't happen to have any. And then she choked, and she went out and got a test, and she announced she had 1,024th, right? 1,000. That means, like, I said it last night, that means around 700 or 800 years ago, somewhere there was a little bit of a relationship going. That's okay. 700, 800 years ago, maybe.
Dude, what is your Chinese character supposed to say?
What a phony she is, huh? Isn't she terrible?
Yeah, damn it. I was so planning on running against her. She was supposed to be her and Sanders. They were supposed to top out at 30% in the Democratic Party, and I was going to run against them, and people were going to be afraid that they would wreck the entire economy. And then my mismanaging of the entire pandemic caused 200,000 people to die and upended the whole friggin' thing.
And now we're going to pick a great woman, any one of the five that I told you, but any one of the women that we had, they're all great people, great scholars, great, brilliant people.
There's the pro-life sign. I'm going to fill the seat.
A lot of people. No, they're all great women. They're brilliant, great scholars. By the way, while I'm here, would anybody prefer that I pick a man? Is there any man that has the courage to raise your hand? There's one right there. I got one. We found one. No, we're going to pick an incredible woman, brilliant woman, and watch the abuse that she will take. Whoever it's going to...
Yeah, that's the only reason he's picking a woman, is to throw her to the wolves. Is that when her legal opinions are judged, they're going to say it's sexism, even though she's going to, he's going to pick somebody that will gut Roe v. Wade.
Decision's going to be announced on Saturday.
That's it. I mean, this is it. This is really just... They're throwing this woman out there because they think it will gin up a bunch of, news. It'll grind the news cycle.
5 o'clock on Saturday at the White House.
Oh, I'll be there.
And you see, we have
Actually, I think I'll be in the waiting room for Sexy Liberal.
tremendous Republican support. Two people, always got to be two. Always got to be the two, those two. We have great support from the Republican Party, tremendous support. It's never been this unified before, ever, ever. In the fake impeachment, we had 196 to nothing Republican support, and we had 52.5 to a half.
Gee, it's almost like the RNC was hacked, and the only person who didn't give a shit about the hack was the Mormon who had nothing to hide.
In the Senate. Who was the half? I can't imagine.
He's announced he's going to allow a vote. So I wouldn't shit on him if I were you, because he hasn't said how he will vote, just that he will vote.
Yeah, Buddy was very good today, I have to tell you. He was good. Now I'm happy. Thank you, Mitt. Thank you. No, he was very good. Very positive statement. But days ago, Biden reiterated his pledge to require net zero carbon emissions. That's
Explain what net zero means.
basically saying, you know what that is? There'll be no more oil. There'll be no more gas.
No, it's not what that means at all.
There'll be no more nothing. There'll be no more industry. There'll be no more country. That's what it's saying, really. And that would instantly shut down all fracking and all mining immediately in Pennsylvania.
No, it wouldn't.
Sending your jobs overseas, sending your money to somebody else, not you.
It's the target is 2050.
And I'll keep your jobs
immediately
in Pennsylvania where they belong, and you're going to be
wait, does Trump know what year it is?
Doing fracking for a long time.
Yeah, well, not for a long time. Just until you start having solid earthquakes.
But I can say the same, because you are really big in energy, and I can say the same thing to you as I say in Texas. So
Sure, right. Just use the same remarks. Pretend they're the same people.
they don't want
Most of those people are following you from state to state anyway. So.
oil. They don't want fracking, right? They don't want the energy that we know that powers these massive plants, because the other stuff is
No, they want to compensate for it in the areas where it's not absolutely necessary, where like jet fuel, for example, is pretty crucial. There's not a real electric planes, especially solar powered ones, are kind of off the table right now. Nuclear powered aircraft carriers, for example, make up for the aspect of them being, you know, fossil fuel driven. But you can compensate for that with electric cars, trains, and solar and wind power grids that lower the amount of carbon to zero, so that net zero eventually becomes a possibility. See, so these big industrial places that still run on fossil fuels will still run on those fossil fuels until a better technology comes along. But what we'll do is we'll take all the other areas where there are other technologies that can handle it, and we'll implement those as fast as possible.
It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. So they
Nobody expects it to do it. Stupid.
don't like oil.
This is a man, a grown man, who is incapable intellectually of understanding the issue he is talking about. You are watching this occur. There he is. Watch this grown man, an adult, partially educated, a man of means, a second-generation rich kid. That's right. With rich, murderous friends all over the globe. He's about to explain to you how his shit for brains is incapable of processing these ideas. This is not about a failure of those ideas or whether they are viable or functional at all. That's a valuable conversation to have, you see. You can have an argument about whether wind, hydroelectric, solar, micronuclear, and other stuff can make up for fossil fuels. And you can argue what that timeline can be based on the available technology. That's a reasonable conversation to have. That's not what you're about to see. You're about to see a man, this guy right here, completely incapable of processing any of the elements necessary for a reasonable conversation or idea about furtherance of either side of that argument. Just fart out a bunch of noise.
They don't like the gas.
All right. I mean, honestly, they don't like the gas. That's it. That's what we, Jesus Christ. I have not watched any of this. And there are seldom moments that are just as goofy and pity is this? Good God. They don't like a guess. Jesus Christ. Honestly. Okay. What'd I just say? What the fuck did I just say? Listen to this.
Because the other stuff is wonderful. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. So they don't like oil. They don't like gas. They don't like God, religion. The churches are closed.
They don't like the gas. When did he become Chico Marx? Seriously. They don't like the gas. What the hell? What do you mean they don't like gas? That's terrible. How could you even say such a thing? And they don't like God. The churches are closed. Excuse me. Do you need a church to worship? By the way, if you want to have your gathering of 100 atheists, you can't. The National Convention of Atheism ain't happening this year. You know why? Because it's group gatherings. It's not based on what the shit you're talking about. But we'll get to protests are allowed, is the idea. Which means not stopped. Disorganized. You can't actually stop people at the doors once they're in the street and that kind of stuff. But at a church, you can say, hi, you guys are all in here, and this is, you can't do that because all these people are in here and they're going to get killed. And a lot of these people are old and they're going to die. You probably shouldn't do that. And the churches themselves are choosing to remain closed to protect the fact that the vast majority of deeply religious people in this country are older. Not all of them, but a large portion. And if they aren't, if an individual church doesn't have a lot of older people in there, they do have a lot of people who are a large portion of their 20% or so, and those people might die. It's not good for the church.
How about these states? You know, they still have churches closed. And by the way, your governor hasn't been so great. You know that, right?
That lady up there hates it. Under the live thing, she's just mad as hell, and she's not gonna take it anymore. Boo! She's a glass licking Karen.
Are your churches still closed? They're still closed. They're doing it for a reason. By the way,
yeah, to save the old people. They're trying to save old people. They're trying to keep old people from dying.
November 4th, they'll announce we've decided to open up. Okay? They're trying to make our numbers.
No, they're not. No, they're not. The whole point is that you're running as Biden's going to shut everything down for 6 weeks. And we're not shutting it down anymore. So why would they open it right after the 4th? Oh, God. Why wouldn't they do it on the 2nd so that you could go to the polls?
That is possible. So California's closed, Pennsylvania's closed, North Carolina's closed, Michigan is closed.
Michigan's not closed.
Another beauty right there. Michigan.
Oh, there's a woman. Interesting.
Closed.
Thank you, Can't Stop Lying.
And then
I'll try. I'm gonna go 6 at the latest. We'll see. This is a long one. I think he's almost done.
Ballots, millions and millions of ballots. By the way, when you see shenanigans, please report it to your authorities. Okay.
If Ann Coulter tries to vote in your district, she might, because she votes in a couple of districts at once. If you see Ann Coulter anywhere near your polling place, please call the authorities.
They're watching, and the authorities are watching. But please report it. But when you look at it, really, it's amazing, and they're trying to make our numbers look bad. But
your numbers are bad.
Even with numerous closed states, and you notice also law and order, right? Law and order. The red states, the Republican states, they're working great. Record low.
Sorry, is Pennsylvania a shitstorm right now of violent crime?
Crime, record low. But Democrat-run states, you look at Chicago, you look at New York. New York has gone through we have to bring back, we should draft Rudy Giuliani, okay? Let's bring him back. Draft Rudy. We want Rudy.
Yeah, you can't. He wouldn't pass the vetting process to run again. Hey, Gonzo.
Rudy, I tell you, Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy.
It's amazing. But he did a great job. New York was in big trouble. He came in and he just was tough, smart.
Bullshit. Okay, can we settle this once and for all? Because I brought this up before. Kids, I got to tell you, as much as the crime bill gets a factor, I want to find something real quick. So in 1992, 93, nationwide the nationwide fingerprint computer analysis went online. It went completely nationwide by 1999, but it was being in process, like added to systems all the way across the country. They were taking all their, it took years, but they took all the fingerprints they had in books that they would literally manually check them against all across the country, and they put them all into the National Fingerprint Database. And they started on a DNA database, even though the technology wasn't there. They took all the physical evidence of DNA from rape cases and murder cases and all that kind of stuff and put it in storage so that they could type it and, you know, and make sure that they had DNA profiles eventually on everybody, because they knew that technology was coming online, right? VICAP, the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, started mid-1985. It went full nationwide mid-90s. So talk about everybody talks about the goddamn, like, crime went down under Rudy Giuliani, and nationwide the crime statistics went down, and all these people got locked up because of the crime bill and all this nonsense. Folks, as people committed crimes across this country, their fingerprints started to check out in all the other states they committed crimes in. And the VICAP system started keeping track of violent criminals. So they started grabbing people who were crossing state lines and committing murder and rape and larceny and drug dealing and all this kind of stuff. And so people would finally, in the late 90s, be up against 5 major charges in multiple states, and they would end up in federal penitentiaries instead of state jails and state penitentiaries. This is the big shift. So everything everybody's been telling you about about incarceration and the crime bill and Rudy Giuliani's, you know, stop and frisk and all that bullshit, about that's why crime went down, is nonsense. The only reason that, you know, them, you know, taking more criminals off the street during Rudy Giuliani's time had any effect long term was because VICAP and the National Fingerprint Database allowed them to check who this asshole was and find out, oh yeah, they murdered somebody in Florida. We found their fingerprints at a murder scene down there. So put them away for a long time. Our jails started to swell, not with a torrent of innocent people, but with people who had murdered and raped and stolen from people in multiple states using different names, or who had escaped apprehension in other cases. They were single, you know, first-time offenders because that was the first time they were caught and fingerprinted or DNA typed. And then they found out, oh shit, this guy's fingerprints match to an assault and a robbery and a rape and a bunch of other things. For fuck's sake, this is so aggravating. This is science created this massive incarceration that we have right now. And it became so overwhelming that they started blowing off the minimum standards for sentencing because they didn't have room to house all these assholes. They were letting them go on sexual assault crimes and other stuff, not because they didn't deserve to be put in jail for a long time, but because they had 3 other charges on that stack of 5, and it weighted the mandatory minimums away from making them serious because they had this dude on the murder of 3 people. So the rape he committed, you know, there's one of the dudes that Kim Kardashian's trying to get out, raped a woman on a boat in Santa Barbara, but he's in jail for murdering an entire family. They never even charged him for the rape because they were busy using every resource they had to try him because of blood typing and fingerprinting analysis that was available nationwide for the first time. Dude went all the way to Mexico, left a car in San Diego. They typed all this shit together, and when they finally got him for the 3 murders, they didn't even bother to do the other charges because they knew they were getting him, for all these others. That's what it is, more than any other factor. When you keep hearing all these stories about whether it was the crime bill or whether there's systemic racism in the thing, I mean, the systemic racism is on a local level. Local police officers giving local black people in local neighborhoods a bunch of shit they don't deserve. That's the systemic part. Once it gets to the federal level and these people are going to jail for a long period of time, the rare innocent person that you hear about, where they're innocent of a murder that they got tried against, the reason they ended up getting that murder charge is because they had 6 other typed crimes that they showed up for, and that played into their sentencing for the other one most of the time. There's very rarely somebody who's in jail for murder or something else that doesn't have another, a huge rap sheet. And rap sheets have gotten way longer since the 90s. People's criminal records now are enormous because they can track them using their DNA and using their fingerprints. None of this other stuff, it drives me frigging crazy. People are talking out of their ass. Science is why so many people are in jail now. DNA and fingerprints. And all of that shit went online from 1993 to 1999, and the incarceration rate went up exponentially after that fact. And there are people in jail now for 9 rapes, not the one they initially got caught on. That's what's happening. That's why they've got 27 years. For Christ's sakes. Yeah, and science is getting people out. That is exactly right, Jillian. A lot of the people who are getting free, the reason they're getting free is the exact same reason why the numbers are ballooning, and you can't have one without the other. You can't go, this person was exonerated because of DNA, without recognizing the fact that a shit ton of these people that are in jail for a long time are in there because of the exact same technology. Stop it. God damn it. It drives me nuts.
It became the safest big city, and now we have a...
Bullshit. Bullshit. DNA and fingerprints. Half the assholes that got pulled off the streets in New York, the reason that they ended up in jail for a long time was because of other crimes in New York that they finally were able to type against, or shit tons of crimes in Florida because that's where the drug... highway was at the time.
And where some categories of crime were up 300%.
Yeah, because they're catching them.
He fired 1,000. He fired a lot of police. I guess $1 billion a year worth of police, worth of great police, firemen.
He didn't fire firemen.
And women. It's a terrible thing. I love that.
Yeah, it is a terrible thing if it was true and you're just pulling it out of your ass. They shifted $1 billion away because they've been getting a ton of money since 9/11 for other stuff, and the $1 billion isn't getting rid of cops on the street. It's because they don't need attack helicopters.
Place so much, and it's so sad to see what's happening to New York. We're going to make a little bit of a play for New York. In theory, did
Mitch McConnell fall down? What happened?
The Democrats automatically win New York. But I do phenomenally in most parts, and then one part, it's automatic. But I can't imagine that particular part is going to be very happy. So we're going to make a play for New York.
Yeah, go for it. Try moving back there. You made a play. You ripped off people using your charity. Dude, you can't have a charity in the state of New York, and you didn't even fight it. You didn't even fight it. Oh, Mitch face planted. That's great. I have to look that up. That's fascinating. Think about what that means. The SDNY attacked your charity. By the way, DNA did not exonerate the Central Park Five. It caught one person with previous DNA in it. That's another story altogether. But I hear where you're coming from. Mitch McConnell falls. Did this just happen? Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, that's not the first time it's happened, apparently. May 21st, August 4th. What?
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is recovering from a fractured shoulder. The leader's office says McConnell was injured when he tripped and fell on his patio at his Kentucky home on Sunday. The 77-year-old received treatment for the injury and was later released. His office says Leader McConnell will continue working from his home in Louisville.
That's bullshit, by the way. I'm going to call that they did that news. Locks down keys. Rules. Yeah. I'll find it. And Trump's not going to win in New York. But imagine this. Think about this for a second. You're a rich person. You live in a big city. You run a charity for cancer and other things like that. And then you get attacked by the local prosecutor. And they are trying to remove your ability to have a charity. They're saying this is a criminal endeavor. See, that's 2014, though. That's when that happened, when he falls down on stage, actually. Is that what you were seeing earlier?
Brush your teeth in less than 10 seconds
quit it.
with this revolutionary toothbrush. It was
gross. Uh-oh. Somebody fix that step. That's clearly booby trapped. Did he fall again? I know they walked him off the stage after that one. Did it happen again? That was Team Mitch, whatever.
With Pennsylvania.
Imagine running a charity, trying to, educate kids or cure cancer or whatever you give a shit about, and the state attacks you and says it's fake. You are funneling money from other people and into your own coffers. You're spending it on items for yourself. You don't give a shit about anything you pretend to care about. You don't care about any of that stuff. Think about that. And what would your response be? What would you do if the state said your charity is a fraud? Would you fold up your tent and piss off? Seriously. Think about that for a second. Like that, I mean, the enormity of that. The enormity of if your state AG or the SDNYDA attacked your charity, that you're trying to do good for your community and for the people of the world or whatever, would you just go, you know what, we're not just going to do it anymore. I won't have a charity anymore. I'll just get rid of it. Fuck you. Like, this is, it's a joke. Like, you would fight like hell, wouldn't you? Bethy, I'm from Kentucky originally, too.
I have to make a play. We've got Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you wouldn't run a fraudulent charity. That's exactly it. That's precisely it.
We don't have to make a play. We don't have to. This is a great... for years, though, Pennsylvania was a place that Republicans just didn't win. And for many years, everybody thought...
Yeah, because you screwed union workers.
We're going to win. Every Republican said, yeah, we're going to win Pennsylvania. They thought they were going to win it, and they didn't. And I came along, and we won it. And we won it quite easily.
Wait, only 24,000 votes or something?
I think we're going to do even better now.
I'm not taking my birthday off. No. I will be joining you guys, but it'll be a special stream. We'll figure something out.
Because remember,
but Summer says I have to be done by 5:30.
number one in the history of your state last year, and that's because of what we did. We stopped the dumping. We saved your steel, so many different things. But Pennsylvania,
Trump Tower's made out of Chinese steel.
the home of American energy. Think of it that way. And this has taken place over a very short period of time. Also, the birthplace of a thing called the American Constitution, right? American Constitution.
Something that you've been wiping your ass with for the last 3 years?
Uphold our Constitution as written, as opposed to as conceived by some radical left judge. I will soon be announcing that nominee. You're going to love it. You're going to be so happy. If you don't love it, don't vote for me, okay? If you don't like it, my opponent refuses to release a list of justices. You know, I was told that a big thing when I was running last time.
The thing you want is the judiciary. Yeah, the reason you're told that by Republicans is because they do not increasingly give a shit about voters. And they are actually leveraging their power base on totally ignoring voters entirely. 100% focus on the Senate, the Electoral College, and the judiciary. They could give a rat's ass about trying to convince voters every time. Their money is much better spent, you know, in their minds as an investment, locking down the judiciary and using them as a firewall.
They really knew me. They knew me very well. We had great success at The Apprentice and in business, and it was great. But they never knew what kind of a judge I would pick or to be a justice, right? A justice of the Supreme Court. And I said, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to solve that problem? But, you know.
I'm going to let the Heritage Foundation provide you with a list of people and just crib from those notes.
I was in politics, never. Don't forget, when I ran, they said, no, he's inexperienced, you know. And I ran against some very talented people, some of them.
No, you didn't run against any talented people on the right. Every to the person, even Kasich, like, folded too early, was weak. Every single person he ran against in that primary was a complete asshole.
Some of whom are very good friends of mine, some of whom I don't like too much.
Yeah, is there a difference?
You know, when I don't like somebody, it lasts for a long time. But
Yeah, simple people hold grudges.
I said, well, how do we solve that problem?
My birthday is this Friday, the 25th.
I don't know.
It's also my mom's birthday.
They just weren't believing. You know, the appointment of a United States Supreme Court justice was much more important to the voters than I thought. And they're right, because they will set policy for 50 years.
No, they won't. No, they won't. They do if you can hold the Senate and stop the House and the Senate from addressing the legal limitations put on by the judiciary. So the judiciary takes a bill, says we're throwing that out, it violates the Constitution, unless, like in the attacks on the ACA and other things, unless the House or the Congress modifies the bill and fixes these elements. And so they guarantee that, you know, if there are enough Republicans and they can filibuster or do an anonymous hold, they can stop that change from happening. In the normal functioning of the government, full functioning of the government, the judiciary would say this is not legal. It goes back, and the House and the Senate address the illegalities in the bill or what's unconstitutional about it, which they should address during committee, but if they fail to, or there's an attack on it that they weren't expecting, they fix that part, they redress the bill, and they send it back through, which is effectively what the judiciary did with what the SCOTUS did with DACA.
Set policy, whether it's life, whether it's Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, if I weren't president, you know the pressure, your Second Amendment would be obliterated. It would.
Obama was president for 8 years. Clinton was president for 8 years and Columbine happened. The Second Amendment was not obliterated. This is a fucking cartoon.
Maybe be gone, but at a minimum, obliterated.
Maybe. What's the difference between obliterated and gone? Explain yourself.
Haven't touched your Second Amendment. Not even touched it.
You had to outlaw bump stocks. Those little like sear pin things that allow you to automate a Glock pistol. You haven't outlawed those yet.
Because I'm here to block.
Can I find that? Hold on. Let's see. Turns a Glock into a machine pistol. So these things, let's see if we get. Feds find illegal machine gun conversion kits in Detroit. Switch that turns Glock pistol into mini machine gun popping. Let's see. View all. Let's see. Micro conversion. Glock 18 machine pistol. When switching to high gear, the machine is good for 1,200 rounds per second. This is, here you go. This is 2017, right? Let's just see what this does. Shall we? Hold on. Pausing. Guns.com. So this is a Glock 18. This is fairly standard.
Auto variant of the standard Glock.
Yeah, it's a Glock or whatever. And then you find this little pin thing that you clip in underneath there. It's a little modifier for it. You put that sucker in there, replacing the original, and that's a single shot. That's what it normally shoots. And then this is what it turns into. Look at that. There you go.
Only to law enforcement departments.
There you go. So that's how it normally shoots. That's how it normally shoots. I don't have a problem with that. Look how big that clip is, though, which is ridiculous. But you don't need that unless you're killing cops. Or you're a cop and you're dealing with cop killers. Thank you, Can't Stop Lying.
When switched into high gear, the machine pistol is capable of firing 1,200 rounds per minute. To put that in perspective, the gun can empty its 33-round magazine in 1.5 seconds. Although there are slight differences in their dimensions, the Glock 18 looks and feels in every way like its semi-auto predecessor. But, given the high rate of fire coupled with the pistol's light weight, you'll need to be careful when you're putting rounds down range.
Yeah, you might.
Instructors
look at the organs on their target, by the way.
Clocks, company range in Smyrna, Georgia, tell users to exaggerate both their grip and stance to manage muzzle rise.
You think?
The gun will tell me whether or not I'm shooting aggressive and if my grip is good. So I'm going to slightly step back a little further.
Yeah, because it's going to ride up and shoot everybody 2 stories above whoever you're shooting at.
I'm going to lean really into it. So I'm going
you think?
to lean really into it to get my weight behind the gun.
Yeah, wait till it jams and pieces of it fly into your eye. Yeah, it's a good thing you're wearing goggles and a hat and.
So I'm pushing on the gun as the gun is pushing up against me.
You think?
Helps the gun to run. So we're gonna rotate the selector switch down to full auto mode.
Yeah, so we just rotate it down to full auto mode. Cool.
Nice tight grip. Lean into it.
Per federal.
That's right. There you go. Those kids aren't getting away. There you go. So that's see, I don't have a problem with the gun in its normal shot form, because that's a handgun. That's for self-defense. You own that. That's that's part of it. This
law Glock
is friggin'
does not sell the G18 model in the consumer market.
Yeah, they don't sell it in the consumer market. You got to be a drug dealer from Miami to buy one.
Third-party manufacturers sell conversion kits to modify semi-auto Glocks with full auto capabilities. But a true Glock machine pistol can be identified with the markings on the front of the slide.
Yeah, so it's got it written on there. So just read the barrel. Like when all 32 of those rounds are coming your way, just lean over and go, oh yeah, that's store-bought. So okay. What a bunch of assholes.
I'm a blocking force. I'm like a lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You're exactly that. Yeah, with bad ankles and a beer gut, but okay.
Blocking force. No, they haven't touched it. But your Second Amendment would be under siege. So nobody knew. I never knew. You know, you hear about Supreme Court, you know about Supreme Court, you know about other judges. By the way, at the end of the first term, we'll be close to 300 federal judges, including Court of Appeals, which I think is a record. I guess it's a record. It's a lot. That's a lot. Nobody's done that. And very important, no, it's a record. Think of that, 300. That's a big percentage of the...
Yeah, it's because we have more circuits than we had before. We now have 13 circuit judges, districts rather, which is why we should have 13 Supreme Court judges. Just saying.
Judicial.
Nobody would have a problem. We used to have 9, so we had 9 judges. So when Biden gets in...
Think of that, 300, and many, many Court of Appeals judges, but 2 great Supreme Court judges or justices, and now we're going
to... What are they?
Get a third. Can you imagine our enemies, 3 in one term? So many presidents, they just don't have the chance, and it's so important. But
Can you imagine our enemies? Our enemies.
I said to my people, I said, so if they don't believe me, what I'll do is I'll make up a list of 25 judges and
Heritage Foundation will.
People, and we'll tell them I will only pick from that list. They said, that sounds like an...
You know this, right? Trump suggested taking away guns. Google it, how there's video. Please play it too. Okay. I love that idea. Let's see. See if we can grab that. Trump says take away guns. Let's see. Videos. Oh, the take away the guns without due process one. We talked about this on my radio show a while back. Yeah, this one was nutty because it was like
there
even
is a
more
huge
extreme.
Fundraising deadline coming up
I know.
for Senate Democrats.
Thank you, Stacey.
And they need your help right now if they're...
There you go.
Yes, go ahead, Mike.
Well, in the category, you've spoken about it, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders.
Sure.
They're called, California actually has a version of this, and I think you, in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually, and
he farted at the top of this meeting.
And as a group, we spoke about states taking steps, but the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process so that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court.
Due process, whatever that means.
Obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession
Or
of that
might
individual.
take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case.
Yeah, just take the guns. Just take the guns. Take anything. I mean, at this point, why stop at guns? Just take people's stuff, then take them to court, then charge them with things.
Just took place in Florida. They had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Sure, why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Sure. Go through due process second. Anyway.
Interesting idea. This was my idea. You have to be, you know, when you've never run for office before, you have to have a little bit of imagination. So I got out on a list. I named...
You mean you have to lie?
People, the people good. I said, and I promise that I will pick someone like the people on this list.
Cannot just take my guns, says Janet in the chat room. Yeah, I know. I've never seen Obama suggest that. I have never seen a Democrat ever suggest that. All of us are against people who have been found guilty of, domestic violence or have restraining orders against them having guns and the like. That requires, a judicial proceeding. But he just wants to take them and then take you to court.
It didn't work.
Because of the Constitution.
It went nowhere. Because they didn't trust it. If they didn't trust, they said, we want you to pick the people on the list, not somebody like the people on the list. So I went back the next week. I said, I will pick somebody that's on this list. And they were all great judges for the most part, I think almost entirely, but judges, and really respected conservative.
Well, we can do the Trump deposition at some point.
In our country, solid.
All right, I have to sign out soon because we're never going to get to the end of this. It's going to take, like, he's got, let's see, there's more of this same shit. Shall we get to the finish? Let's see what his big, god damn, just on and on the same bullshit.
Offenses and 5,000 murders.
Wait, what?
45,000 assaults.
And a partridge.
It's going to be done so fast. Since 2017, ICE has successfully arrested nearly 500,000 illegal aliens with criminal records.
Huh? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Including over 145,000 assaults, 40,000 sex offenses, and 5,000 murders.
Whoever he's talking about, they must be exhausted. What?
So fast. Since 2017, ICE has successfully arrested nearly 500,000 illegal aliens with criminal records, including over 145,000 assaults, 40,000 sex offenses, and 5,000 murders.
Yeah, they bust them at the actual border. Most of the drug dealers have at least 10 of those things. Like, all the MS-13 dudes have like 5 murders apiece. That doesn't exactly spread out over a bunch of people.
If you don't mind, Democrats, we'll bring them the hell out of our country. We'll get them out of here. Some of them are so violent, we have to keep them. We don't want to house them for 50 years. But if we let them go, they come back in as much as we watch, you know. Look, if they come back in, we don't want it. We don't want them. So we keep them here. We have no choice.
No, a bunch of them are American citizens.
Left gains power.
But it goes against your bullshit narrative that they all come across the border.
They will abolish. Republicans will always, they're going to abolish. Republicans will always stand with these incredible heroes of ICE and Border Patrol. You have to see these ICE people. They go into a den of MS-13. They call them a den, a nest. Where you have
Is that what they do? Is it a gaggle? Is it like a murder of crows? There's a den of MS-13?
Guys that are vicious gang members. And they go in there, they just start swinging. It's the craziest thing. They love it. Now,
they just run in and start punching people? It might just be a taco stand in East LA, but it's probably a den of MS-13. I mean, pretty much anybody they punch, we just say, that must have been MS-13, so.
Who wants that job? Do you want that job? Look, he's a tough guy sitting here. You too. You're tough guys. You don't want any part of it. They're just incredible.
Yeah, get that angle right side.
And they love our country. They love our country. And then people say, oh, they're too rough. They're too rough. You have no idea how bad some of these gangs are, what they do. They use knives because it's more painful. They cut people up. They cut 2 young, beautiful girls, 16 years old.
Yeah, we know this story. Nobody's for this.
They were going home from school, and they cut them to pieces. Killed them.
Yeah, we know. No one is for this.
They're animals. We invested $2.5 trillion in the U.S. military and launched the first new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in...
It's a good transition into Space Force. Anyway, so they cut up these 2 schoolgirls on their way home or whatever, but I invented Space Force.
75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force. Not since the Air Force.
He just said Ass Force.
Think of it, the Air Force.
Hold on, wait.
We invested $2.5 trillion in the U.S. military and launched the first new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
He just said Ass Force. I'm not kidding. Not since the Ass Force. Am I wrong? Listen to this again.
Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
Not since the Ass Force. Oh, do you think he just had a wispy memory of? Oh my God!
forces in 75 years. Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
Not since the Ass Force.
Since
God.
the Air Force. Think of it, the Air Force was last.
Yes, he just said Ass Force.
If I did just that.
If I just did the Ass Force.
Space Force, big deal. By the way, it's going to end up being one of the most important things you've ever imagined.
Ass Force, forcing your asses, Ass Force. Okay.
But if I just did that, a sixth branch of the U.S. military, that would be a big deal. That's like one of many, many things. We passed VA choice and VA accountability.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay. Hi. I know I got to get out of here, but for Christ's sake, any trolls in the Facebook community who have not seen this yet need to see this so you can shut the shit up about this nonsense. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, lie, lie. Veterans Access Choice and Accountability Act of 2014. Who was president in 2014? Ass Force. Tell me. Huh? Where are you? Where are you? Come on, because here's the thing. You can argue, Biden doesn't know where he is, and he's losing it, and the AOC and the Green New Deal and fracking is going to lead to, the president's, captain's log and all this stuff. But you cannot argue with the fact that the Veterans Choice, Accountability, and Access Act of 2014, and not necessarily in that order, was passed by Barack Obama and signed into law. This is simply a lie. All of it, by the way. The Mission Act was a modification of it, shaved 2 days off the month-long limit. If you had to wait 30 days, you now only have to wait 28 days. And if you had to drive 45 minutes, you now only have to drive 30 minutes. That was the biggest difference in these two bills between this and the Mission Act. All the stuff, finding somebody, a private care, all that stuff, expansion of it, new facilities, training and education, all these things, including firing people, all this, VA will revise human resources policies to include penalties for employing employees who knowingly falsify or require their employee to falsify data regarding access to care measures, limit the awards and bonuses, this kind of thing. New authority for them to seek removal or transfer of senior executive based on poor performance or misconduct, with an abbreviated process for an expedited appeal, so that they even have less time to fight it. You're out. Passed by Obama. Passed by Obama. Passed by Obama. You assholes. He is lying to and about veterans every time he does this. This is a lie. If you are a Trump supporter, I don't give a shit if you think about what you think about anything else I say or do. Read that and shut the fuck up. Why is Stephen Wright at this guy at Trump's?
We killed the founder and leader of ISIS.
Who is that dude?
It's al-Baghdadi. They were after him for years. We took out the world.
You never gonna get over the fact he didn't get Osama bin Laden.
It's #1 terrorist and the mass murder of American troops and many others. Qasem Soleimani is gone. I withdrew.
Dude, these guys don't even, your followers don't even know who he is.
From the last administration's disastrous Iran nuclear deal, one of the...
Yeah, Gonzo says, Hal, Trump has done so little for the troops, he has to steal things Obama did. That's exactly right.
Great disaster.
Love you too, Kimmy. Thank you.
And by the way, it's practically expired. The crazy deal that Obama made practically expired. And his chief negotiator, he never left. I want this. Nope, we're not giving it. Okay, let's go on to the next thing. Give me this. Nope. Give me this. Nope. Give me this. Nope. He never won a point.
Is that how it went?
He lost everything. It's the worst deal I've ever seen. And the only time he left the table...
No, it isn't.
...is to go on a bicycle ride, and he crashed and broke his leg and his arm. And
tell us all, show us all how you can ride a bike after you walk a ramp.
I promised everybody I would never go riding in a bicycle race. I swear to you.
Oh, that's the wait. See this dude? This dude in the hat. This dude. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Recognize the
dude in the hat. The Q people are convinced. I'm not kidding. That dude in the hat is John F. Kennedy Jr. That's John J. In disguise.
Capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem.
That guy right there. They think that guy, he comes to all these, he's at all of his stuff. I'm not kidding you. They think he's John F. Kennedy Jr. Let's see. QAnon think Trump supporter is John J. At rallies. It's got to show. I'm not kidding. Images. Find this. Whereas they're going to have a picture of him. I'm dead serious. I watched a whole video where they were like, this Christian dude, John J. is at Trump rallies. You guys will be able to find this guy. I gotta find the picture. This is so weird. Yeah. Wait. Oh, here it is. Hold on. This is the dude. Hold on. So see, there he is. Look at this. See this? That's the guy. They think this guy is this guy. Just later. This is, and he's back, he's behind Trump at all these things, and they film him at all this shit. I'm not kidding. Look at these assholes. No, they call him John J. John F. Kennedy Jr. They think he secretly supports Trump and is helping him clean up all these friggin' things. That guy. Rise and fall of QAnon, their wildest conspiracies. There he is. That's him. That's the guy. He's at all of these. He travels around with a bunch of these assholes. Seriously. Seriously. And notice how right side found this fucker. But look at him. I mean, they centered in. They found him in the crowd and centered in on him. The right side media is doing this shit on purpose. Look at this. Here it is. Look at this picture. Like, these are supposedly him. Look at that shit. This is his wife, and this is her aging. This is him, and this is him aging. They think. Look at this. They really think this shit. Hey, look, there's another one. Look at the overlaps that they're doing with this picture. All this shit. That's him. That's the dude. That's him. There he is. They friggin' think this dude is, seriously. Well, he doesn't have to wear a mask. He's impervious because he's a superhero and he's there to fight whatever. Seriously. No, that dude's a supporter. Yeah. It's like Ozzie Davis and Bubba Hotep. Guys, honest to God, the fact that they centered, and he's dead center. They are focusing in on this dude. They found him.
I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
They didn't single out some other random asshole in that crowd. They went in on that dude.
That was a 52-year development that I got done like in about a day.
Yeah, it's Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
They've been negotiating.
This is how the...
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Negotiating that sovereignty over the Golan Heights. I got it done immediately. 52 years they worked.
It's not that they couldn't do it. It's that it was a bad idea.
But instead of endless war,
Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Forging peace in the Middle East. It's so great. Peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, peace in the Middle East. Finally, Bahrain in this. All right. Yeah, if you haven't seen Bubba Hotep, you're missing out. It's Bruce Campbell as Elvis and Ozzie Davis as John F. Kennedy, and they're both in an old folks' home, and there's a mummy that fell off of a truck, and it's eating the souls of the other old people there, but it needs a new one regularly because there's not as much life force in the old people. So Elvis and John F. Kennedy fight the mummy at the end, and I'm not telling you anymore.
So Biden's put forward a platform.
It makes as much sense as this speech, except it's full of joy and fun.
It would end America as we know it, and this is true. You know, I don't think of him as a radical lefty, but basically he's controlled by them. And what about this Kamala? How about her?
Kamala, and yeah, she's super lefty. Dude, again, he was going to run against Biden as being for the crime bill. He was going to run against Kamala Harris as being too tough on crime and dismissive of the impacts that it had on communities. And now he's running at her like she's left of Bernie. It's garbage.
She's at 15%. No, she's at 13%. Then people started, no, she's at 12. No, she's at 10. She's at 9. She's at 7. These are
great. Everybody paying attention?
Poll numbers. She got worse and worse. She quit before she ever got to Iowa.
And then she ended up vice president. It's interesting. It's almost like they have a strategy.
Plus, nobody, including Pocahontas, treated Biden so badly.
Yeah, and it's weird that he can take somebody who's viewed as a political opponent and yet incorporate her into his administration and actually work with her. If he can work with her, the idea is, yeah.
Called him a racist, right?
No, she did not call him a racist.
Brought him into the Me Too movement?
No, didn't do that.
Right? Made him a...
You really want to go there? You really want to go there with the Me Too thing? Mr. 13-year-old?
Member of the Me Too movement?
Yeah, a member of the Me Too movement? What is it, a club like Mar-a-Lago now?
She said...
Is anybody who's a member of Mar-a-Lago not been Me Too'd?
And I brilliantly said, well, the one person he can't choose is Kamala.
Kamala.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to pick Kamala. And she...
Yeah, she said, I don't think you're a racist. Exactly.
Rated.
And by the way, ended up that the busing thing that she was against, she didn't benefit from anyways. Like it's
more liberal than Bernie. You know what? He's number 2. Believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
No, it's a true.
Nope, nobody believes that, and it's not a true statement. And everybody's like, even this dude is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" The old dude right there who doesn't realize his mask should cover his nose.
Sorry, she is rated the most liberal person in Congress, and I.
The lady's like shaking her head. It's terrible that that's such a lie.
I think she's grossly incompetent. I'll be honest with you. I don't think she knows what those she's doing.
Really? You're gonna go with grossly incompetent? That's just kind of your general flail around. So she's grossly incompetent. She doesn't know what she's doing. So Mike Pence, good luck against someone who's grossly incompetent and doesn't know what she's doing. It should be good luck. Because if you lose to her, you lost to someone who's grossly incompetent and doesn't know what they're doing.
And we have a great vice president, Mike Pence. Right?
Not impressed.
He's great. And he says hello.
Does he? Oh, that's sweet.
If elected,
how's Carrot?
Biden would destroy Social Security and destroy protection for pre-existing conditions, people with pre-existing.
He put it in place.
Conditions. Drain your Medicare by giving away your health care to illegal immigrants. They're all going to come in. If you have that, the problem is we're going to give you health care. They're going to.
No, you're not. You can just go get checked to see if you have things like COVID without having to declare your citizenship because we don't want you spreading it around. Or not going in to get checked just because you're here undocumented and then spreading it around.
The United States and our country can't afford.
Oh my God, Amazon sells Q-shirts with that dude's face on them? Of course they do. I'm surprised we're not seeing people wear them next to that dude.
We all have hearts. Country can't afford it. They would get people that never even thought of coming if they see that. Can't do it. They would end our travel bans on jihadist regions. We have very strong. Remember, I got travel ban.
Yeah, that's so that the Yazidis and the Coptic Christians and other people can escape and not die. I'm skipping ahead. We're almost done.
Gettys.
We will make America safe again. We will make America.
So vicious, so horrible, and yet so beautiful and so historic, right? Incredible.
He's talking about me.
Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is the place where generations of tough, strong Pennsylvania workers mined the coal, worked the railroads, forged the steel that made America into the greatest and most powerful nation in the history of the world.
And every single person there couldn't be less interested in those jobs.
And we are making it greater, greater, greater than ever before. Not even close. Not even close. It's what we're doing. We're doing it together. Proud citizens like you help build this country, and together we are taking back our country.
From who? From you?
We are returning power.
The last administration really screwed the pooch on this. Oh, I am the last
To
administration.
you, the American people, with your help, your devotion, and your drive, we are going to keep on working.
He's going to do his little fingers so he knows where he is and he sticks to his speech. Say this line, say this line, say this line, say this
We are going to keep on fighting, and we are going to keep on winning, winning, winning.
I don't know why saying winning 3 times is supposed to be better than just saying keep on winning. Maybe because people are like, we got like 200,000 dead and 10.6% unemployment and you've really shit the bed. So say winning 3 times, maybe they'll not notice it. After the second winning, they're like, I guess we are winning.
We are one movement.
It's like Candyman, Candyman.
One people, one family.
I'm not going to say it 3 times, are you nuts?
And one glorious nation under God. And together with the incredible people of Pennsylvania, we will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again.
Strong again.
We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again.
Safe again.
And we will
Yeah, healthy is not one of them.
make America great again. Thank you. Thank you,
You mean great again, right?
Pennsylvania. Thank you.
Hand job, hand job. Oh, look, they dumped it out.
President Donald Trump wrapping up his remarks in Moon Township,
Pennsylvania. All right, I gotta go. I got work to do. You guys are awesome. I'm in trouble. I got work to do. Okay, you're awesome. Okay, have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. You're wonderful. Have fun. Bye. Thanks for hanging out. You guys are awesome. We will do this again tomorrow. Have an excellent night.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. All on bubble.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell? That was really cool, by the way.
You're not hearing what I'm saying.
Oh, that's okay, Doc, because you're not saying what I'm hearing.
I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Would you classify that as a punch problem or a design problem?
That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy.
My sister, you can all have her. I hear she's very good.
What do you say we cut the chit-chat? A-hole!
I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
He thinks I made it up.
Unbelievable.
Motown. 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 Motown.
So that's the kind of fight it's going to be. Did have a shade. Did have a shade.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Man, you are one pathetic loser. Groovy.
To be a moron. To be Morocco. An imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.